Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. !! Discord for the link. Hello, Movember. Thank you for all the donations.
Hi, Movember.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Movember.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our team.
Shit, we have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't have OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't. Shenanigans are ensuing, everyone.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
guys, our team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
Doing
this.
this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
I just won't bang them, so it's, you know.
Right.
There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against, we opened up the submission process. So we were getting in writers, Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert, are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
I need my calculator for that. What the f***, dude? You ready?
No!
You ready?
No? How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping. These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey.
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl of their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along?" And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim. So I was like, yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
Cheers.
Here, push.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
Oh,
Will.
Billy.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB, hold on.
This
I'll be in
stream.
my bunk.
Like that.
Welcome in, Raiders.
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the Creeper, he's got to be in on it,
Right?
Scooby
pop
Doo,
in.
where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with epic rims.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now. But now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different.
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link. Hello, Movember. Thank you for all the donations.
Hi,
all the-
November.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
November.
Welcome on
We're
in. I appreciate you.
Welcome
today.
in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our
Oh
team.
shit, we have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves
That's
to
a-
the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans. Huh.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of
have
the prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Barbie,
Shenanigans aren't
speak for
suing everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our
so-
team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000. There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
I just won't bang them, so it's
Right.
There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
I need my calculator for that. What the f***? You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping. These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey.
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along? And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal."
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast, and then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies. I
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
will.
Billy.
Oh my God. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB, hold on. I'll be in my bunk. Welcome in, Raiders.
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the Creeper. He's got to be in on it.
Right.
Scooby Doo, where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with Epic Realms.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So
It's time to start the podcast. It's time to play some games. It's time to have some fun here on the Epic Show tonight.
We'll see some off the pod here. Enjoy some great alerts. We'll have a grand old time here watching Epic Realms tonight. We love it when we come here. We clip all of the screens. The chat gets kind of trolly on Epic Realms it seems. But that's an awesome part of the Epic family. So let's enjoy the show now and start another hype train. We'll see the spicy chips fly on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, epicational. This is what we call the Epic Show.
Hello, friends and enemies, heroes and villains. Welcome to Epic Realms Presents Off the Pod. It's not a podcast. It's sort of a podcast, sort of podcast show. Welcome on in, guys. This is video. It's live. It's interactive. It's us sitting here talking to you in this wonderful world of streaming that we call Twitch or Kick or YouTube or wherever you're watching us. So welcome on in. I am joined by the one and only author, agent, editor, and somebody with more hats than that, and I probably can't list them all because we'll be here all night long. The one and only Gabrielle Harbowy. How are you doing? Welcome on in.
I am doing great. Thank you. It's great to be here after a few false starts. And can I just say that intro song is epic?
It is so much fun.
Wow.
I love seeing the reaction because nobody knows what they're getting into before I do that, unless they've been here a lot and seen it. And you look over, and I'm like, yep. Seeing the reaction. That is one of our audience members.
Thing, TM.
Yeah. One of our audience members, Lyric Lust, did produce that entire thing. Wrote it. I had no idea. All of a sudden, I just get this file. I'm like, this is for you. I was like, what? And I listened to it. I was like, oh my gosh, send me the lyrics. I'm gonna do a thing. Now this is the second video I've made.
I dip all my hats to them.
Yeah, Lyric is amazing. Loves the Lyric Lust. Welcome in, chatters. Everybody's in here. Hello, Eric Scott to be. We love Eric Scott to be. We were talking nothing but amazing things for like 10 minutes earlier about Eric and how much we love Eric.
That's why we're late, because we were talking about Eric. No, it's not.
Like
We'll let him think
months of delay. That's why
months of talking about Eric.
Let's not do the show. Let's just talk about Eric for a while.
Well, we could have Eric on the show and talk about him with him. at some
We'll
future
have,
point,
yeah,
and
maybe
that would
we'll
be
have
fun.
to. I was thinking doing like a group off the pod with a couple of people, and maybe that'll be the thing. Maybe we'll do you guys. And of course,
would be
Curly
cool.
Girl's in here, our moderator, Toasty Toesies. Welcome on in. Seven Tail Fox spawned a dungeon there that I turned the audio off on, apparently, but I didn't. Barlack officially first. Welcome on in, everybody. We've got a lot of great topics today to go through, and they're all over the place, guys. They're all over the place. So we haven't broken any records. It's not like we don't have the weirdest topics that have ever been said. But we also don't have the most common topics either. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Although I feel guilty about our first topic now.
Why do you feel guilty about our first topic? Oh, no.
Because I didn't realize that bread was out of bounds too.
It is not out of bounds. That's why I
No?
was so in on this. I was like, we started doing gluten-free sourdough. And I mean, I like baking. I mean, we're talking me being a celiac, like I have things to say about bread.
Excellent. All right, now I'm pumped for bread.
So I am very tall. I am very tall. It's true. That's what Eric says. Eric's got to be says I am very tall. And over on YouTube, Toka says an Eric special episode. If we had $1 for every Eric special episode, I'd be like, let's spend more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric's one of the first people we had on the podcast. Eric I think he's going for a record for the most appearances on the regular podcast. He's been on Off the Pod. He's been on Game Masters Workshop. Like we said, Eric is one of our favorite people in the whole wide world.
I would be competing too if, life didn't interfere so much.
Right?
It's okay.
Right.
It's
for
okay.
those that don't
We're
know.
here now.
For
We're
those
here
that
now.
don't know, the thing is we've been this episode has been scheduled 4 times?
Yes.
4 times this episode's been scheduled. And almost all of them are due to life or sickness. And sometimes I guess sickness is life, but whether it's career moves, work, sickness, health, and we've got Pedro. Hope you guys like Pedro. Welcome on in, Mr. Beetlejuice. Do you speak Spanish?
Un poco.
Do you know what the end part of that is? Where it's like beep ba deep ba doop. That's all I ever say because I don't know what they're saying. I've looked it up and I still don't remember.
I'd have to look at it.
People go Google it for us. Google it and put it in the chat. We've got lots of great topics. I'm like Alec Baldwin in that way, and I only that way.
And yeah, thank you. Thank you for only that way. But yeah, have me and Eric on together sometime. It'll be we riff.
I'll just sit back.
I'll
just sit back and watch the stuff go. We're going to be talking baking bread today, guys. Not only that, we're going to be talking about playing mythical creatures in RPGs, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. We all know that there's a lot of RPG themed stuff here. That's the backbone.
No.
It's the backbone of the podcast is RPGs. So yeah, it's mythical creatures in RPGs. It'll be a lot of fun. Of course, when we come back from our break, because we'll go on a break after that, we'll come back and we're going to talk road trip stories. Guys, I used to be a professional wrestler. I've got stories. Gabrielle, you've got stories? You've got stories?
I got to see some interesting places and some bizarre shit. Yes.
So we've got stories. Be prepared. Put your seatbelts on. That's later on in the show. Of course, we have Eric Scott to be created this subject. The first time he was on Off the Pod, he created the potluck. It's whatever we come across, whenever we come across it, we're just going to cover whatever it is. Potluck. Thank you, Eric Scott to be. This is now a staple of the show. This is the marker that he put on this show, is the potluck subject. It'll forever be here. So, yeah.
He also, I had to seriously readjust my chair when I got here because I'm way shorter than he is.
I had to change the camera. I was like, oh, let's move this up here and whatever. But I see it's the same background. Very similar background.
Yeah, except his is real and mine's a shower curtain.
Shh. Shh, those are real books. Those are real, and you've read every single one.
And I've read them all.
You've read them all.
I get that question a lot, actually. Have you read all those books?
You're like, yes, I have. Because it's really easy, because it's a shower curtain. You just look, there's no words. Look, there it is.
I've been using a green screen for a long time now, and I had to move it out of the way of my closet to get something. So you're actually seeing unmodded, ungreen screened, uncorrected
I love
video,
it. I love the
which
books.
most people
that's a great
do
background,
not.
I think, for you
I like it.
for
I
so
like it.
many reasons.
Yes.
Eric says you're welcome, and I apologize.
Yes. No, I usually say I wrote all these books.
Oh, there you go. Wrote or edited,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
now agented. Is that a word? Agented.
It is.
It is a word. Okay.
It is a word.
That's good.
Yes. But no, I have no shower curtains with bread. I need to remedy that.
We do. We'll have to figure
I
that
need
out.
a whole
I wonder if they
whole
even make
baking
them.
rack.
Does that mean if you
Oh,
have a
yeah.
shower curtain then it gets wet, do they just get soggy? I don't.
Oh.
Yeah, you probably don't want a shower
Hmm.
curtain. You'll want a shower curtain liner to go with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Just make sure it's scratch and sniff so it smells fresh.
I don't think I would be able to do that in my office all day long.
So why did you say baking bread? Why was that on your list? Because I always get a list, and I'm like, what made you think baking bread before you knew I was a celiac?
I have been really into baking my own bread,
Mhm.
and I like it. It's a thing that a friend taught me how to do when I was staying at their house, and I was like, I didn't realize this was so easy. And and it is. It's very easy. It's just a couple ingredients. It's just a little bit of time. The hardest thing is paying attention for the timer so that you don't
Right.
miss it. And it just kind of does its thing. I have this great bread maker. It's a little silicone football shaped thing. I can shoot you a link or shoot a link into the chat.
Yeah, sure. You'll have to shoot me a link, I think.
Okay. I will shoot you a link.
Shoot me a link.
And
so my wife does most of the breaking. Most of the
breaking.
baking. I mean breaking, that's my job. Most of the baking in our house. So but we've gotten into I'm the cook and she bakes. But she can cook and I can bake. But I'm not very good at it. I can bake certain things. And I've tried my hand at bread. I used to do like an Indian, like not Indian, an Irish soda bread. Happy St. Patty's Day,
that
day
sounds
after.
good.
An Irish soda bread, and there's a Finnish flatbread that I would make. And the Finnish flatbread would go with like galamoika or kalamoika, which is like a fish soup type thing for people that don't know. So it's that was kind of the extent of my baking. Although lately I did non-bread baking stuff as well.
Yeah.
So,
I'm really into anything Finnish, so leipä is bread. Yeah.
Nice. I don't know. We have a couple of viewers who are Finnish and a couple other streamer friends who are Finnish, and so I'll bounce back in words. My grandparents on my dad's side were both Finnish, so I know
cool.
I've forgotten a lot of words, but I remember a small handful that were like really important as a child that were said a lot. So like boika. For some reason I remember boika.
Boika.
So
yep. So EFJ has tasted my bread.
Oh.
Eric DeB has eaten my bread. I have another friend here who's watching, at least one more friend who's eaten bread that I have made. And I started it and I was like, this is better than store bread. And it's easy, it's cheap, and I can make it whenever I run out. And I just have to kind of keep flour on hand. And this bread maker thingy fits in my oven really easily and washes really easily, and it's portable. I've traveled with it to make bread for people that I've visited, and it's just a very simple rustic recipe. It's just flour and water and yeast and salt, and that's it, and time and heat.
What is your ratio of like crust to bread? Like, do you like a thick, heavy crust, or do you like a thinner crust and more of the bread inside, or does it depend on what you're making?
Both. I like the crust to be crusty and crispy, and then the bread to be soft and porous and fluffy and warm.
Yeah, girly girl. Unless
there's
it's gluten-free.
Galdoc weighing in on bread that I brought to Disneyland actually to share with Galdoc and their family.
Did you share any with Mickey and Minnie?
I did not.
They're
they,
mice.
They just
They're
wanted
mice.
the
They would have
cheese.
loved. Oh, I suppose. I was gonna say mice like bread too.
Yeah, yeah. Unless it's gluten free, and then the flour is not cheap, but it's still the same. It's 3 cups flour, cup and a half of water.
Some of the problems with the gluten-free bread is the raising. We've noticed in our household.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do it, you don't get that soft, porous texture. So you know, there's a thing we found. It's called it's a laxative. It's a laxative, and I forget what it's called. Curly Girl can remember, but it's it holds it together like a binder. But the issue is that you don't get the raising that you get. Xylem husk, thank you.
Xylem husk, yeah.
And so you don't get that soft, porous texture unless you use so much yeast. So much yeast.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the issue we've run across with doing gluten-free breads, is trying to get that fluffy, porous texture, because the gluten is what makes that possible. So
gluten's a jerk.
It is. It is. I have one of those bread football things too, because Gabrielle showed me how amazing it is.
Yes.
So
2 of these 3 topics are, about Eric to be. So
2 of the, I'm sure we could make all of them about Eric.
I'm sure we could. but yeah, I took the bread maker up to Eric's house and made bread for Eric and his wife, and we had lovely feasts with it. And Eric ordered his own bread thingy on the spot, because I had learned to do it in a Dutch oven, and then I came home from visiting my friend Leah and bought a Dutch oven, really excited, and the Dutch oven does not fit in my oven with the lid on it.
Oh no!
Which was a bit of a problem. So then I started researching
the handle off the
substitute.
lid even?
I mean, you could, but then you'd have a big hole there.
That's true.
So
that's true. Well, that's a bummer.
So yeah, so I found this instead, and it's just so easy and convenient and friendly and dishwasher safe, and it was cheaper to spend $25 on this than to buy a new oven.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's, fair.
Yeah. Next house, maybe I'll make sure that I have oven doors that are.
You won't need it. You won't need a bigger oven because you'll have
I won't need it.
thing, unless you want a bigger oven.
Yeah. A Dutch oven is like a
it's like a ceramic pot, basically.
It's like a pot, basically.
Cast iron.
And this one's cast iron, and it has a heavy lid, and it's big enough for the bread to have room the air to circulate around it a little bit and build up moisture and steam, which is trapped inside to help it cook and stay moist.
Yeah. It's like a Google Le Creuset is kind of one of the most famous ones in our area, is Le Creuset, as far as the branding goes.
And those are super expensive, but they're a lot cheaper if you get, off-label ones.
Yeah, Curly Girl says, when I worked at the bookstore, the Artisan Baking in 5 Minutes a Day book was a big craze. Do you know anything about that book?
I don't know anything about that book.
Are you going to write a bread making book?
No, because I only know one recipe, so that's not enough for a book.
That takes away my next question. I was going to ask you, what's the weirdest bread you made? But if you've only made one.
So sometimes I take those everything bagel seasoning flakes that are like poppy seeds and sesame seeds and garlic and onion salt and stuff. And everything you'd see on an everything bagel.
Right.
And after I prove it, I sprinkle those on the top.
Okay.
Or I've made it for with rosemary in it, or chopped olives, or exactly what Curly Girl is saying, rosemary or olives. Yeah. But that's about as adventurous as I've gotten, because it just kind of needs to be the background for other things and a vehicle for butter. And
so it's kind of like the base for making the bread, and then just like the other stuff you can put whatever. So you're like, I want to put cinnamon and raisins in here. Done. Cinnamon raisin bread.
Yeah, I could totally do that.
I want to put cardamom
anything
in
that
there.
seems appealing.
Does the whole thing mix it itself, or do you have like a KitchenAid sort of thing? Because we've got a KitchenAid that we use.
I just mix it with my hands.
Okay. Do you have to worry about how much you need it, how much you don't need it, how much you do the fold, and then how long it has to sit before you put it in the baker and all that kind of stuff?
It's not even a kneading thing. You just kind of mix all the ingredients up. It's a very wet dough, so it doesn't really knead up into a shape. It's just really gloopy, and it's supposed to be. So I started using a rice paddle type of thing, like you would use to scoop rice out of a rice cooker, and swishing it around with that and getting it all mixed up if I don't feel like getting my hands in it.
Okay.
Or sometimes I wear gloves, but it's just squishing it with the hands. That's part of the fun.
If it's all gloopy, does it stick to your hands or does it stay?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I was
Then
gonna
you
say, because
take-
most of the stuff we did with the gluten is like, you're like, well, I have half of the bread on my hands, and
Yeah. Well, then you take a plastic, very dull knife and you scrape it off your hands back into the bowl. And
maybe that's what we're doing wrong. Maybe we're supposed to leave it sticky and gloopy, the gluten-free stuff, and just leave it that way and try and figure out how to get it in a thing and cooking it. Maybe that's it.
just cook your hands.
Just cook our hands. That's right. Just put them right
Extra
in.
flavor,
Yeah, well,
extra
I mean,
protein.
you got the meat already there. Yeah, it'd be perfect.
You can only do that once, though. I mean, per hand,
per person.
unless they grow back.
Per person.
Ring of regeneration
Ring of regeneration, which would
ends up in the bread. That would be a problem.
Well, I was gonna say, if it's the ring of regeneration, it wouldn't matter because like it's on the. You'd be like, where did the extra Gabrielle come from?
Oh, that would be a problem. Yeah. Or would it?
Or would it?
Because one can write the deadlines and one can do the bread and one can sleep
if
in.
You cut off if the hand's wearing the ring of regeneration and you no longer have that hand, would you still regrow
That's going to
the hand?
regenerate a whole person.
Right,
You're right.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd have to wear it somewhere else. I'd have to wear it on a necklace or on a toe or somewhere that doesn't get cooked.
Somewhere that you don't mix bread with.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite bread that you haven't cooked?
Let's see. I have not made a rye yet. I really like dark rye, like pumpernickel.
You think that's going to be
Haven't
what you're
done
going
that.
to branch into next?
Maybe.
Do you think you're going to branch into something else, a different type of bread?
I might. I could see myself eventually either getting tired of this or wanting to do something fancy for an occasion.
Yeah.
But as a vehicle for grilled cheese, it makes really great grilled cheese in the sandwich press, or just like butter and peanut butter and things in the mornings. It's perfect as it is. So
Curly Girl says ciabatta bread.
Yeah.
And that goes for you guys in the audience too. If you have a bread you want to try making or learn, feel free to throw it
don't
in
ask
for
me
us.
how, because I don't know, but
Yeah, we'll
please
just
feel
talk
free to share and give ideas. Yeah.
Oh, they thought the
Or
Dutch
if you
oven
are
was
a
something
person
negative associated
or-
with the Dutch. No, it's not.
No.
I don't know how I missed that one.
No.
I missed that comment.
No. Or if you're a person for whom I make bread who wants to put in a request, then you can do that too. But you also know where to reach me.
There you go. There it is. I'm
No,
a big fan
it's
of.
just simple and fun and doesn't take too much of my brain or too much of my day. Because if it did either of those things, I wouldn't be able to do it regularly or,
Well, if it's quick and easy, then it's quick and easy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it takes an hour to prove and then 40 minutes to bake, but I don't have to pay attention to it during that hour or that 40 minutes. I just need the 5 minutes in between
Yeah.
to stir it up again while I'm preheating the oven. Because
Do
my
you-
other trick is that I prove it in the oven.
I was going to ask you, do you proof it in the oven or do you proof it like on the counter or do you actually use the bottom drawer for proofing, which is what it's supposed to be, or do you use it for storage?
That is for storage. You are correct. But I bring it up to the lowest temperature it'll set to, which in our case is 175. And then I turn it off. And then I put the bread in there and just let it sit with the light on and the oven off.
That's what we were thinking about doing because our last batch of sourdough didn't really rise properly. And we we're thinking, well, what if it's just too cold in the house?
Mhm.
What if we just preheat the oven, then turn the oven off, leave the light on, and proof it in the oven after it cools down a little bit and let it rise with that temperature? And then it's an enclosed area. You don't have the wishy-washy of like, you don't have as much of a temperature variation constantly shifting like you do in a house every time somebody walks
Right.
by
Or opens the door that's right there.
or opens the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it just
Or
sits in there.
when I started making it, our problem was that we had cats who would interrupt it,
They'd be doing that.
sit on it.
Oh,
more like.
There
Nick,
you
you
go.
need to turn your volume up, says the voice in your ear.
Turn my volume up? My volume. Interesting. Okay. I can turn my
Okay.
volume up just a little bit. I wonder
Crank
if with all the stuff that happened on my computer today, I wonder if it adjusted my audio output somehow. Sometimes the computer programs will take over my microphone settings and change them on me. And then I go, shame on you, computer, for doing that. So hopefully you guys like it. How about you? Do you hear me fine?
I hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just my output. Just
Yeah.
my output. I can see it now. I can see I was like, I am a little bit quieter.
I was trying not to watch the assassins run past you from Assassin's Creed earlier. You still got a few of them in there.
Yeah, they're just sitting, waiting, going like,
There's one behind
come on,
that
hard drive.
post. Yeah.
You're not storing the right file. Okay, now we can go. For those watching today. So don't tell anybody that you've been feeding them bread that your cat sat on. You probably shouldn't be telling them that.
Oh no. I mean, it was all preventive to keep the cats from doing that because we met these cats. We knew them. We knew what they were capable of.
Is that like cat sat fever? Do.
Something like that.
Instead of cat scratch fever, guys. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
been a long day, people. Give me a break. I'm trying to be funny here. Oh.
But no, it's cool and it's a fun thing, and it's a fun thing that you can bring places and give to people or make for people, and something that's homemade is always a little more special, and even though it has the chance of error in it, that also makes it special and interesting. Like, oh, today's is a little more crunchy and dark, sorry. Or, oh, that squishy part in the middle, that shouldn't be there, but haha, it's homemade.
We'll just take it out, feed it to something else, and eat around the hole.
Feed it to some cats.
Feed it to some cats.
Feed it to Mickey and Minnie.
Yeah, there you go.
They don't care. They're mice.
They are.
Yeah.
For sure. We just got for Christmas, we got these little proofing bowls for our sourdough. We got we got 2 sourdough proofing bowls, and they're about this big. And then we got the little, it's like, it looks like it's a pasta cutter is what it looks like. It looks like a little, with the little wheel that you make like ravioli with or whatever.
Sure.
It looks like that, but then you take the case off and it's literally just a razor blade on a handle. And I was like, what is this medieval torture device and how awesome is it? I mean, how is it used for making bread?
Yeah. I know how awesome it is, but how do you use it for bread?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
this thing only does 1d4. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's minute bleed damage, though. Bleed damage, guys.
Yeah.
But scoring the sourdough, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that. I knew that I had always seen the X's on there,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't know. I just thought that.
So does your sourdough starter have a name?
It does not have a name yet, but we have had it for what, 6 months? At least 6 months, maybe a year. We might have had it for almost a year now. So yeah, we started it from scratch. We from the ground up with gluten-free rice flour.
Wow.
Brown rice flour, and so we've built it up. We tried the premix. It's like a premixed flour, like the Bob's Red Mill all in, and it didn't really work well because it has all of the added stuff in there. And then slowly we build it. Bonus poison damage if you have celiac. Rollicon say.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad enough I get this from my friends, guys.
We are your friends.
It's bad enough I get this from the people that live around me. Oh, you are absolutely correct, though. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I deserve that.
Yeah. I do the baking because I think it's fun, and my spouse does the cooking because they're a food scientist and they think that's fun. And I find cooking to give me lots of anxiety and not be fun. So it's a nice division of labor. They cook, I do dishes. It balances out.
Yeah, we try to do that a bit as well. I missed another chat. It says, I really like making quick breads, but those are not great for sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
What are quick breads for if they're not? I mean, isn't all bread for sandwiches?
For eating.
But you eat sandwiches. You eat sandwiches, right?
Do you mean quick breads like the loaf breads?
I don't know.
Like banana bread or
I do like
pumpkin
banana
bread
too.
or things like that. Because you could use those for sandwiches. I think you just have to broaden your definition of appropriate sandwich flavors.
I mean, banana bread as a peanut butter sandwich?
Yeah, like banana or zucchini bread. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, banana bread. I do like a good banana bread. We have so many bananas in the freezer. Do you do banana bread, zucchini breads, that kind of stuff?
I like them a lot. Yeah. And I do keep bananas in the freezer for until they're long forgotten and archaeology. Yes.
Do you have to do a whole different process for that, or can you use your machine thing?
No, I use the loaf pan for that. I have a silicone loaf pan that works for that. And I usually honestly use mixes,
Oh, okay.
the store-bought bread mix. But I can make them from scratch and they're fun. They're just not as easy and brainless a process as this. And Curly Girl is right, not exactly the same wide application.
Right.
So it's
Brown
more
butter
of,
banana bread is my new favorite. Oh yeah, that brown butter banana bread we had was amazing.
that sounds great. Is this the banana bread song?
It should be. It should be the banana bread song. But that is actually the 20 minutes are already gone. We've already gone 20 minutes on the first
Wow.
topic. It goes by quick.
It
Next thing you know,
does.
we're going to be done. You're like, we just started. We just started.
Yeah,
Like when we hit the break, you'll be like, what the heck? What the what?
I know.
What the what?
I know.
I was going to ask you, what about like things that aren't bread? Do you do other baking stuff?
I do, but I can justify bread a lot better. I feel like rather than like dessert treat type things.
We did, we experimented and made, because we're like, we've got the sourdough. What else can we make besides pancakes, which are amazing, and waffles, which are amazing?
Mhm.
So I can't, it's what can't I normally have that I would love to try and eat or
Yeah.
try to make, because they don't make them in the real world. And I've been doing that,
Right.
you know, this has been my ongoing struggle for years now of like, what's a food that I, as a celiac, wish I could have that you can go, most people can just go in the store and buy.
Mhm.
You know, go in the store and buy a box of Cheez-Its.
Sure,
There isn't a gluten-free Cheez-It in the world, guys. It doesn't exist.
that's true.
There are a couple things that are kind of similar in texture, but not in flavor. There are some things that try to get similar in flavor, but not in texture. You know, I've had ones
Yeah.
that are like, they're kind of a little bit more like goldfish, but not quite goldfish. So we made a sourdough Cheez-It out of the sourdough, and it was amazing. Only problem is we got to get new rolling pins so it like rolls evenly.
They have those rolling pins with the textures in them, and
Ooh.
I've actually seen some like game miniature rollers for rolling on clay to make like game bases and stuff, where you could
Oh my
use those
God.
as rolling pins and then have like a battlefield of the dead
Oh
in
my
your
gosh.
Cheez-Its. That would be
That would
amazing.
be awesome. Then you just put your little Cheez-It down. I know people
Yeah.
will use their like starburst in like battles, and they'll be like, when you kill the bad guy, you get to eat the starburst. And now I'm like, when you kill the bad guy, you can eat the Cheez-It. Oh my gosh, you've just changed my world of game mastering in
I
person.
saw those
ever.
today and I don't remember where, but I will find you a link because they're 3D printables that you just print and use to roll out your bases, and
Yeah, and then I'd have to
they make
find
all
my
kinds of
my
wacky
friends that
things.
have 3D printers and get the food grade, whatever it is, stuff
Yeah.
that they do. I was telling you earlier, I'm not technologically dumb, but I'm technologically like 10 years behind. So there are things like, I understand how a computer works, but what an SSD does in comparison to a regular one, I ain't got a clue.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's I know what a 3D printer is, but if I had one sitting here next to me, I would need somebody to help me set it up and figure it out, and then figure out the program to design the things, to do the things. So yeah, I will just
Yeah.
defer and be like, hey buddy, can you print this off for me?
I was using mine for a long time, fairly regularly, but the resin smell is just so toxic and it's in my office, and
Yeah.
I stopped using it and I haven't recalibrated it again since I fixed it up and got it running again.
Yeah, because there are
And
food
I'm
safe
hoping
resins,
that
right? And
there are food safe
most resins
but
aren't food safe. You have to get the
they
food
are,
safe ones.
yeah, those are not the ones that I have. And I do love printing my own minis and painting them and stuff. And to segue into the next topic, I do have a mini chosen and downloaded for my centaur character that
Ooh.
I should print one of these days, but I have not.
When you mentioned playing mythological creatures in RPGs, I was like, this is super cool. And then I was like, have I done that? I'm like, yeah, I had to have done that. If not, I know plenty of people who have. Because normally you get your core, right? No matter what system of RPG fantasy that you're looking at, it's, you know, human, elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling, half elf, half something, half orc. Yeah.
Maybe a dragon thing or
Yeah.
something with horns.
Yeah,
or
a dragon
tiefling
thing, but not a full dragon. Although there have
But
always
not a
been
full
rules
dragon.
to that. And I think one of my favorite ones was playing as a pseudo dragon. I think was one of my favorite like mythical creatures in RPG. You mentioned a centaur. I know people have played like awakened animals. Kind of the same, not exactly a mythical creature, but kind of in that same genre when it comes to the feel and effect.
Yeah. I would love to play a mimic, but I have not yet. But that would be so much fun.
Oh my gosh. I could just imagine. I'm always curious because like they take on the form of whatever, but like they don't really go into like when they change from one form to another and what that takes to do. Like, can they just like ad lib, just be like, I'm just going to be a thing. It only takes a standard action to switch into another object. And maybe they say that in 5th edition. I'm not really sure.
I mean, I don't think they do, but I think that's a supplement that's begging to be written, and I will write it if no one else has.
Oh, just a whole like a mimic as a player
like
character.
the to devour something with your mouth, with your mimic mouth, has to be a standard action that you can do at any time. But to transform into into another form or something like that would have to be a longer thing.
Yeah.
Or
I would guess it would be something attuned to something like it would take like in Pathfinder's Mythic, like you have to spend 8 hours to upgrade your mythical weapon or whatever, something like that. Note where it's like you are, cocooning up to transform into something else is my only guess.
That would be interesting. Maybe it would. Maybe a long rest.
Something, yeah. I don't know. I'd say 5th edition probably a long rest to change into another thing, and you'd have to have size categories, right?
Yeah.
Based on your
Unless someone
on your level.
Someone has kind of meta magic that can help you with your transformation. A wizard might have that school of magic, or
yeah. Then are we going to be just spend the entire day figuring out how to make a mimic on as a player character?
And
what the rules would
I've
be?
seen some amazing ones. What was it? I think it's Great Grimoire, but I might be mistaken. It might be another company that has a piano mimic that's gorgeous.
I like the modern equivalent where they're like, what is a modern equivalent of a mimic? How would a mimic survive? They're in an Amazon package on an abandoned house.
Yeah.
Endless food. And you take care of problems.
Right. Come here, package thief.
Come here, package thief.
Nom.
Yeah, and you can be so many sizes. The bigger you get, the easier it is to get food.
Yeah, but the harder it is to hide.
True, but if you're an Amazon package of a television...
Who ordered this refrigerator? This thing is enormous. We're just going to call the, sanitation to come take this box away because it's been here forever.
Right, I suppose. Or
but then you get the sanitation workers and they're delicious. So.
You could just be something out in the open too. You could just be like on the end of the driveway, like, yeah, somebody discarded this and other people want to get it.
The baby mimics look like those white Amazon plastic bags.
Yes, they
Hello,
do.
Briarios. It's good to see you.
Yes,
Yay.
they do. What's your mimic's background? Vigilante. Yes! Amazon. I suppose.
Amazon.
That's really what it is. Amazon is like, they've got a list of all the abandoned houses, and they're like, and here's a mimic, here's a mimic, here's a mimic.
We're doing this, Eric. We're doing this.
Oh. Gonna have to run an entire adventure. Everybody's mimics. I don't know how that would work.
Oops, all mimics. So my centaur has some interesting
let's
challenges.
Go back to the centaur.
Because Eric reminded me because the centaur is in Eric's game that Briarios is also playing in.
Okay.
So hi you guys, good to see you. So my centaur is not a friend of stairs. And you don't think about how many stairs are in your average dungeon adventure
Right.
until they're a pain in your butt.
Until it becomes part of the story, and you have to
Until it
pay
becomes
attention to it.
part of the story. And children coming up and asking for rides is also a big part of the story.
Yeah.
And look, mommy, what's that? And look at the nice horse lady.
Yeah.
And sometimes adults are a little less nice, but she's okay at handling that. But it's been interesting challenges. And she's a druid, so she can wild shape. So if stairs get really annoying, she can find other ways. But
I know. I was just reading what Eric put
yeah,
on it.
I just saw
We
what
both
Eric
were like
said.
mid-sentence, like,
like,
what did Eric say?
What did Eric say now? Uh-oh.
Oops,
Yes.
all mimics. Tell each player that they are secretly a mimic and to keep it secret from the others.
So this is werewolf mimic.
Werewolf mimic. Or animated objects. Everybody's pretending to be an animated sentient object, but really they're all mimics. Can you awaken?
Everyone's pretending to be a person pretending to be a mimic. Pretending to be a person.
There we go.
Mimicception.
Mimicception. But only the mimics know that they're not mimics, even though they are mimics. But they don't know that they're mimics,
But
even though
can
they
mimics detect other mimics? Would they know?
Maybe they need a spell called Detect Mimic.
Maybe we all need that spell.
I think maybe there's a
I think
reason
that
that it
spell
doesn't
is.
exist.
I think that spell is just called perception proficiency.
Roll a perception check.
Yeah.
What are some key things? Because you mentioned that, like, centaur, like, there are things you didn't think about. And obviously, besides the obvious of your mythical creature walking into a town with a group of adventurers or whatever the case may be, like, that's the obvious, like, fish out of water story. But what are some other common things that people probably need to keep in mind if they're playing a mythical creature in an RPG? Obviously, that's the one that everybody first goes to, is like, well, I'm not normal. I'm different than the rest. But besides that.
Yeah, but what does that mean? I mean, thinking about what that means on a deeper level is like, okay, so you're a pretty rare species that some people think doesn't exist or some people might find mythical. You're not going to be stealthy.
Right.
You're going to get a lot of attention wherever you go, and you're going to be memorable. And if you have a whole, horse hind quarter following up behind you, you're not going to be able to disguise that too well.
No.
And the one thing that I haven't figured out how to do is shapeshift her into a humanoid.
Is that even an option
like,
for shapeshifting?
Not that I've found.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it would take some kind of custom item or something to be able to disguise her as human from anywhere but the front. And even from the front, it's kind of iffy. Like, she would have to be standing exactly dead on to you with no angle whatsoever to be able to create that illusion. Like when you put cats in costumes and they walk towards you and it looks like their front legs are people legs.
Right.
Yeah, it would have to be exactly like that. Any angle whatsoever would ruin that effect.
Even an illusion would be hard because, like, you're talking to them, but the sound's coming from up there. Unless the illusion covers both sound and visual.
That's another thing, the height.
Mm-hmm.
Because being 7 foot tall or 15 hands or however you want to measure a centaur's height, that is not a normal human height for people who aren't Eric to be or, certain other of my friends who are in this chat.
Yeah. I always thought I was tall. Like, I'm a tall guy. And I was like, well, Eric can't be that much taller than me. I know he's taller than me, but he can't be. Okay, he is.
My spouse is 6'5", so it's always fun to see them around people who are taller than they are, because that's not a thing I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
But I'm down here at 5 feet even, so.
I'm sorry. Hello up there.
Hello up there.
Another thing to think about is even from a game master's point of view, right? Like, you're looking at, you're a large creature. Well, this is a 5 foot by 5 foot corridor. How are we going to get? How are we going to get you down there?
It is technically a medium creature, but that has been a problem. That has definitely been a problem, and it's been fun. but also I can, okay, this person's unconscious, just sling them across my back, it's fine. Or we have a Kenku with us who is small, who can hide under me or who can, ride me. And we have a pet rat who hides in my mane. And
An
but
illusion of
there's
yourself who is
definitely
very
been,
tall and wears a wedding dress with a huge tail. Or somebody's like carrying a wheelbarrow behind them.
yeah,
It's an option.
there
as
are
well.
ways. There are awkward ways. What are you doing with that wheelbarrow in your wedding dress down here in this dungeon? Oh, I'm feeding the prisoners.
Yeah,
The
that's it.
wheelbarrow's full of hay.
You believe me,
Yeah.
right? Never mind that like the wheel goes this way, but it's moving this way. Just ignore the mechanics of the whole thing. Hello, Steven. Welcome on in.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's so much fun.
What about other mythical creatures? What do you think some challenges for other ones would be? Say somebody that's like a harpy or some like a winged creature that's like human sized.
Oh man, that would be fun. I would love to play a harpy.
Because again, you've got wings, but you've also like got hooves or anything else of what other epic creatures do you think would be a challenge, but also what would those challenges be and how to overcome them?
Well, that makes me think immediately of the time that we got a pair of boots as loot, and we're looking around at our tiefling who decided they have hooves, and our bugbear who has hooves, and all of our characters have hooves, and we're like, who can even wear these?
Yeah. I mean, I guess magic
That was in a
items
different game,
shift to
but
fit sometimes, don't they? I mean, I don't know as much 5th edition rules because we're still
I mean, I
3.5
feel like
Pathfinder.
that's up to you as the DM whether they shift or not. But like, okay, in World of Warcraft, they're going to shift to fit anybody because that's what magic items do.
Yeah.
But in your D&D campaign, it could be really interesting if you have to take this magic item to go get reformed into a shape that you can actually wear it in.
Right. Is it a boot? Yeah. Well, now we got to make it a horseshoe.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Which part of this boot has the magic in it to turn into a horseshoe?
Right.
Boots and horseshoes don't usually shift. Yeah,
they don't shift
that's
enough.
true. I feel like it would take exceptional circumstances and actually a side quest of some kind to make that happen.
Right. Because even in 3.5, it was like, a human's not going to wear the horseshoes of the Zephyr. Just saying, people. Just saying.
Yeah. Or like pants. Does a horse wear pants like this or like this?
I've seen the meme.
I counted on the fact that you had, yes.
Yes. But on the same note, that can be flipped the other way. Like we said, a human can't wear horseshoes of the Zephyr, but a centaur could.
Right.
So now you get to have access to magical items, not a lot, that are only, meant for your character. That's like, well, no one else is going to be using these unless they put them on their horse. At which case you'd be like, I am so offended you gave it to that common horse.
Well, now that's a fancy common horse. So
yeah, I suppose.
So now it can hang out with me.
Having played a pseudo dragon as a mythical creature, I had a little bit different of a feel because like I'm a small creature. So yes, I'm a small creature, number one, that big. But there's still not really any room for like fitting in because you're the size of a house cat. But yet, you can still do all these cool things depending on your build. I think that's another part of it too, like depending on what class you're going when you create a mythical creature, what you can do. Obviously, a druid, you can shape change. So it's like, sure, you can't get in there. All right, well, I just turn into an owl and I fly in or whatever, that situation is.
Or before you have flight, you turn into a spider and you crawl in.
Right,
and
exactly.
I crawled up into the rafters to spy on this thing in this room and then accidentally got unspidered while I was still up there and crashed the rafter and crashed through and also a lot of stuff and made some good collateral damage in addition to a fun story.
Oh, people in the chat, if you have mythical creatures you've used, tell us what you used and tell us a little bit about them. Maybe we can chat about those. This is also about you guys.
Yeah, now I totally want to play a harpy And
Right?
horses do wear socks, so you could transform boots into that. That is true.
I have a list of characters in my mind that I always want to play at one point in time or another that I save, and I had an idea for playing a Knoll. I'm fascinated by Knolls. They're the race that I'm always like, why can't they be good guys? I think they should be good guys. There should be a whole family, and every time I run a custom world, the Knolls are always either neutral or good. Because I'm
That is
always like, you
awesome.
run across, they're like a band of, like a tribe, a roaming tribe of, of Knolls. And they're not, some might be good, some might be bad. But I loved the idea of that. And I always wanted to play, the idea was like a seafaring type campaign where I'm like the quartermaster and I'm a Knoll and I'm like very dedicated to the captain. And so that was an idea for a seafaring campaign of mine. It's like, I want to play this Knoll.
Cool.
And speaking of mythical creatures.
Yeah, I with my old gaming group in San Francisco, we were playing Pathfinder, and we did one of the Weeby Goblins scenarios. And then we took the Weeby Goblins with the pre-gen goblins,
Yeah.
and I made a couple extra goblins so that everybody would have their own unique creature, and made them real statted characters instead of just the truncated stat blocks that they got.
Yeah.
And we rolled those over and turned those into our characters for an adventure path.
I loved, they did
So
really
that
well.
was
with
Oops
the
All
Wee-
Goblins.
Yeah,
And
the Weeby
I
Goblin
had
series
to
was really good.
I had to change. It was the shackles one. The
Skull and Shackles?
skull and is that the name of it? I forget.
I
But
believe
it
Skull and
was
Shackles. The big
I had
big
to
book.
yeah, I had to swap out all of the NPCs that were human to other things so that the goblins wouldn't eat them and would have proper respect and fear for them. But
That's great.
but man, that was a fun time.
Yeah, those Weeby Goblin series they did so well on those, and they made it entertaining and like silly as well. So
silly and so gross and just fun.
And every time it just got worse and worse. And we played the card game, the Pathfinder Adventure card game, and we got the Weeby Goblins expansion, and that was just as hilarious. Just as hilarious.
I haven't seen that, but that's got to be off the hook.
It's ridiculous. Steve the Shark says, I made a 5th edition elation that tormented a party lost in the woods for weeks.
Nice.
Somebody was a wizard's familiar who was then turned into human with a cat. So a cat that was turned into a human.
Fun.
That does sound fun. I like that backstory. I could just imagine like you're a cat and you can speak now, and you're like, somebody's drinking a glass of water and you're like, hey, how's it going? Shh. Oh, sorry, I don't know what came over me.
They leave their glass on the table and you stick your face in it. Yeah.
Right.
You stick your hand in it.
You're like, you go in for a hug. You're like, oh, give me a hug. You give him a hug. I'm going to eat your face.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know what came over me. I wanted a hug, but only for a second. Anything longer than that. That's what I would do.
Give
if
me
I
a
were
hug.
playing
Nope.
cat.
Change my mind.
Change my mind. Nope. Hey, you want to open that door? Yeah, no, just leave it open. No, I want to go out, but leave it open. No, I'm not going to go out now, but I do want to go out now. Okay, I'm out. I want to come back in.
I mostly hissed at people. Yeah, I can relate really hard to this.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
I'm trying to think
That's
other
fun.
mythical creatures that I've played or seen played, but I'm not drawing a blank because I know it happens a lot. People playing angels, for instance. I've seen that happen a handful of times now. One of our friends currently is in a campaign off stream and stuff that they're playing an angel, and I can only imagine, like, what do? I walk into a town, like a centaur is one thing, but an 8-foot tall angel walking
Covered in eyes.
Yeah, just hey, how's it going? What's up, guys? Yeah, where's the inn? I need to go get some. I don't need to rest, but I want to go in. Yeah,
Be
a
not
troll or an
afraid.
orc. Be not afraid. I am just an angel. No, don't pray to me. I want dinner.
Yeah.
Where's the
This
closest
again.
pierogi? I don't know.
The praying again. Really.
The praying son of a gun.
We can never get anywhere because they're all praying.
They're always praying to me. Son of a gun.
Mhm.
Yeah, a troll or an orc. I loved.
Already?
The timer don't lie. The timer
Wow.
don't lie. Monkey Swag played a troll. Oh yeah, that's right. One of our GMs for one of our main games on Wednesday. One of the first characters he played when we met him, he played a troll that was a wizard fighter, and it was really good. Just learning to one of his first characters for sure.
That's awesome.
I like the concept of, I think it's Pathfinder has the trolls that are like, you can go into, I think it's Karamaga, and like you pay them and they're like, they'll do divining, they'll do the intestine divining, but they just use themselves for the divining. I just like, that is amazing.
Wow.
Because, they
I
just
totally
regen. So
forgot.
it's like, yeah, oh, this is your
sure.
prophecy. Okay. And then they just stuff their guts back into their bodies, wait for it to heal, and then walk off. Like, imagine a shaman troll that does that. That would be.
That is cinematic. Yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Awesome, guys.
Nice. That is cool.
Great conversation, everybody. Got to run through my homebrew lists to see.
Yeah.
Definitely. So there you go, guys. You guys have some ideas of character ideas for mythical creatures, provided your game master allows you to play them.
Yes.
But yeah, Noel, what besides what you have now, what is currently something like, this is a mythical creature that I want to play? I have this character idea I want to do. Besides the harpy that you just got.
Well, I'm writing a story with a Gorgon in it right now.
Okay.
And I think that would be fun, but not really sure. I haven't really fleshed out, pun intended, what I would want to do with that class-wise or ability-wise.
Yeah. Because, most people, like, even generically, they're kind of bull-like, right? As a Gorgon. That's why I'm thinking of the Gorgon, right? Is the big kind of...
You may be thinking the Minotaur being bull-like. The Gorgon is the one that turns people to stone.
I might be thinking of the Deadlands Gorgon. I think the Deadlands Gorgon is... the Medusa. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of in Deadlands? There's a big bull creature that, like, you can hear its hooves pounding from, like, miles away, and then you have to make fear checks. I don't know. There's so many games, so many...
That would be interesting.
Characters.
So many variations and so many different
variations.
games.
Now
and using the same mythology. And...
On the break, I'm going to have to go look up what it was. Maybe Rolanda Halo remembers. There's a Wizard of the Coast Gorgon that is like a bull. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I have to look. I just remember it looked like it was like all made out of stone and stuff. But guys, we are going to take a break because apparently we're through our second topic already. You want to stick around through the break. When we come back, we're going to talk road trip stories. We're going to talk potluck. We're going to talk about the things Gabrielle's been up to lately and what she's got coming down the road as well. So all kinds of fun stuff for that after our short little break. So feel free to get up, stretch your legs, get a rest, refill your drinks, and be back for some crazy road trip stories in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Sweet.
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl of their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along?" And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim. So I was like, yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that I learned the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right? Titties for biddies. Thank you. Look at that clip.
Oh my God. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BOP. BRB.
BRB, hold on. I'll be in my bunk.
Like that.
Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, Movember, and thank you for all the donations. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Movember.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our
Oh
team.
shit! We have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves
to-
to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of the
have
prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans aren't
speak for
suing everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our
so-
team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000. There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now. But now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different.
to that new medium and sort of show people a story from beginning to end again.
I just won't bang them, so it's
Right. These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey.
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link. I need my calculator for that. What the?
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the creeper. He's got to be in on it.
Right.
Scooby Doo, where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with epic rims.
There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl of their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along?" And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio
Yeah.
ever since I met Tim. So I was like, yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
Cheers.
Push. I will show my titties for 10 biddies. I
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
will.
Billy.
Oh my God. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB, hold on. I'll be in my bunk. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, Movember. Thank you for all the donations.
Hi,
Oh,
Movember.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our
Oh
team.
shit, we have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just
We have
moves to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans. Huh.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of the
have
prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans aren't
speak for
suing everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our
so-
team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love.
We are back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around through the break. We appreciate you guys. I hope you guys aren't too traumatized with some of those clips that played during the break. I was watching and I was like, oh no, why is that one where me and Pop-Tart ended up having to do a twerk off? That was not a good clip to show on here. I felt very embarrassed. So just so you guys know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are you though? Are you really?
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Sorry enough to
I'm
change
more-
it, or just?
I'm more
Oh, I
embarrassed
forgot
than
that
anything.
was there.
I'm more embarrassed than anything. Oh, guys, if you just came in during the break, we had a few topics. We started talking about baking bread making, some of the breads we like, kind of some of the processes, what's in it, what's not. We kind of got sidetracked a little bit, but we did enjoy our bread baking conversation wherein we talked about bread and gluten-free stuff.
We did.
Because we couldn't talk about bread without talking gluten-free on this channel. We moved on over to talking about playing mythical creatures in RPGs, which I'm sure we probably could have done, 2 topics on that, but we did just one. But maybe we'll have to do a one-off where everybody's playing some sort of mythical creature and have to deal with that sometime down the road here.
That would be fun.
We've
I
got
would be in
openings.
for that.
We've got openings coming up. All right. Now, though, guys, we're going to be going into talking about road trip stories. Now, I said this at the beginning to preface it. I worked as a professional wrestler for a number of years, and we've driven on the road with wrestlers who are not necessarily the smartest people, not necessarily the most adult people in the world, and not necessarily the most mature, because those are 2 different things. Being an adult and being mature are not the same thing. People in the world. So we'll see where this story goes. I know you mentioned that you had some stories as well. Do we have to scale this back, or is this one of those ones where this might be the part where kids might need to go away? Is that what you're saying?
My stories are very family friendly, but
Okay.
yours don't sound like they are.
I will keep my stories family friendly ish.
Ish.
Family friendly-ish. As family friendly as this channel
mean-
usually is.
I mean, depending on the family, right?
We haven't really sworn yet, so maybe once or twice. So I mean, you were curious about the swearing, and I was like, "That's okay, whatever." And I don't think either of us, maybe once, have dropped some sort of swear word. So
I said shit, but
yeah,
I
twice
mean,
now. Twice now.
also my friend told me that they were watching with their kids, so I was deliberately toning it back.
Are they still here? Are you still watching with your kids? If you're in chat, let us
I
know.
believe they are not.
If you're being held
but-
hostage against your
Blink
will,
twice.
blink twice.
Blink
And yes,
twice
I
in
did Google.
chat.
I did
Yes.
Google the Gorgon, and I was thinking of the Wizards of the Coast Gorgon. That is the bull that has the steam that petrifies with the green fog. So Eric got that's the one I was thinking about. But when you mentioned it, you were talking about like the Medusa type Gorgon,
I
right?
was talking about the Medusa type with the snakes and the
Right,
yeah.
right. So it's sad that my brain didn't go to actual, mythology and went directly to D&D monster.
But I mean, that's our modern
this is-
mythology,
this is
right?
what we're-
The
yeah, this-
bestiaries.
This is what we're going off of now, I suppose. But I was a big fan of like the Greek mythology as a kid. Like without the Greek mythology fandom that I had growing up, I don't think I would have gotten into role playing or D&D. So
Interesting.
So I loved all of that stuff. I loved that. I was telling my wife I loved the Greek mythology. I loved paying attention like medieval armor and all of that stuff at school. Like I was drawing the different types of weapons, the different type of armor they used in the medieval times as a kid in middle school. So I just loved all of that stuff. And then I had to read a book for a class. It's like pick a book out of the library. You need to read it and write a report. And so I'm like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, this one's got this cool wizard looking dude on it. It's really cool. Never did I realize that entire book would shape my entire personality for the rest of my life. That being the Wizard of Earthsea series. So there we go.
Wow.
Thank you, Ursula Le Guin. I really wished I had a good representative to talk with. I'd have on the podcast of Ursula Le Guin because I could talk about her for hours if I wanted to. Loves it.
Definitely.
So road trip stories. The timer. I didn't mean to start the timer. Why is the timer going? Can I reset the timer?
I don't know. Can you?
I can reset the timer.
Do you have this technology?
I have the technology. It has been resetted. That's not a word. Maybe
It is now.
It is now. It is now. So road trip stories.
So road trip stories. Yeah.
Give us a road trip story. Give us a background of your road trip story before giving us the road trip story.
So once upon a time, my spouse and I spent pretty much the entire month of October driving around the American Southwest, and it was glorious. We live LA adjacent, and so we drove up through Death Valley into Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and back home. And this took us 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And we are both space and science nerds. They're a chemist. And so we hit 2 nuclear history museums and a bunch of dinosaur sites.
Nice.
And a bunch of really cool rocks. And it was epic. It was so epic. It was great.
I love that. We did you find any fossils?
We didn't find any, but we got to see many. We didn't find our own.
Okay.
But I really appreciate the museums that tell you what's a cast and what's a replica and what's the actual artifact.
Right.
And we went to Dinosaur National Monument in Utah, where basically we'd actually gone to a couple places where dinosaur bones were found here. So instead of excavating them all, they just blocked it off and covered it up and made it a historic site. And the science work is ongoing, but it's all still there. It hasn't been taken off site. It hasn't been looted. It hasn't been. So there's this wall of like partially revealed dinosaur bones, and you can touch them, and they're the real thing. They're not replicas of the real thing. And that was just mind blowing to see it all right there in the strata embedded in the wall in front of me
Yeah,
in
that's
this
cool.
in this structure that was erected to protect it while they continue excavating. And it was mind blowing to think about, you know, that much time and that much history, and just to, you know, be in the presence of it for real, and not just this is what a dinosaur bone, you know, would look and feel like if you were to hold one.
Yeah. I always wanted to find my own fossil. Like, I don't, you can go into the shops and you can get the little plates that's got the little, you know, little fish in there, and it can cost you $150 or whatever. I've never wanted that. I've always wanted to find my own.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to get my own and be like, I found this. I chiseled this out of the ground. You know, this was somewhere that other people could have found, but I found it. This is mine. And I never really went out of my way to do that. Like, I've never gone into like, this is historically a site for finding fossils or whatever. But recently my wife and I have been, we got her a tumbler for her birthday, and she's been collecting rocks. We went up to the North Shore of Minnesota because she's never been agate hunting. And I was like, I grew up there, so let's go find some Lake Superior agates. And we got a handful of them. We're going to go later this year. So that's been a really big thing. And so we're like, let's go somewhere nearby. So we took a little trip nearby down this river to find her rocks. And we found a handful of rocks, and we were walking, and I was like, that's a weird looking rock. You know, just on this shoreline, on this river shoreline. And I pick it up and I was like, this looks like a shell. And I start rinsing it off. It is a shell, but it's a fossil. Like, it's a fossil of a shell, and it's about this big. Like, it is bigger than a quarter. Like, it's big. It's not small. And when I realized what it was, I about lost my shit. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And I'm like, you know, that was all I could think about the entire. I'm like, is this what I think it is? I'm pretty sure it is. And after I cleaned it and I could see where like the entry hole would have been, where it would have filled up with sediment or whatever, I was so freaking excited. And I sent a message. There's a streamer called Paleontologizing. He educates about paleontology. We have another friend that's a science called Science, and he's a biologist, and he does all that kind of stuff, and he does educating. So I sent them both the thing, and they're both like, dude, that is so cool. Where did you find that? So just really fun. So, you know, piggybacking off of your story.
So your lifelong dream to find a fossil came
one
true.
One of my goals, yeah, to find a fossil of my own, and now I have one. And it's not just it's not something small and tiny and a little, you know, a little bug in there. It's like an actual like thing. It's like a fossilized.
I'm surprised you don't keep it on your desk to like pick it up and say, look, this is it.
So it's in with all of our stuff. It's in a storage space to keep it safe for now until we can figure out how to, because I still got to do some cleaning, and I want to make sure I clean it properly. So I don't want to like accidentally wreck it. So it's just kind of in a storage place, staying safe. And knowing me, if I put it on my desk, I would lose it. So,
that's fair.
When it comes to road trips, I was young. We took a trip to. It's gonna be so hard for me not to say it. Every time I'm referencing this trip, I call it our misery trip, and so I always want to call the state misery, the state of misery.
Oh no.
So we went to Misery for a trip to go see an aunt. Now I've been there 2 or 3 times. And pretty much every time there have been bad things that have happened. But on this particular trip, I was a teenager in high school. We're going with my family to see my aunt, who is old or whatever, you know, not doing the best.
Old or whatever.
Or whatever, like doing not, I think it wasn't necessarily that she was old, but she was, okay. Full transparently, she was a really bad alcoholic, and it was not doing well for her, is the true statement, but I was trying to find a better way of putting it, but so we were going to visit her, and I was in an accident when I was really little, and so I have this fear of bridges and being, you know, bridges that go over water in particularly. We've covered this on a stream before, so I won't go into that detail. So I have like a legit phobia of going over bridges with water. I'm way better now than I was before. But this was, you know, 30 years ago. We're going on this misery trip, and we turn on this bridge. It is a 1-lane bridge going over the Mississippi River, really high up. And it's one of those, it's not cement or anything. It's just a metal grate. You can see through the bottom of the bridge. Super thin, flimsy metal. We're driving on it down a single lane road. And not only that, but I look up and there's a semi coming our way. We're going the wrong way down this one-way road. That's the last thing I remember of that entire day.
Wow.
I woke up later. I didn't wake up. I was awake, I guess. But like
You were dissociated
I
out.
completely blacked
Yeah.
the whole thing out. I don't remember any of it. I don't remember. And they were like, that day, later that day or the next day, I don't really remember. They were like, hey, do you remember when you said this? I'm like, I don't remember anything. So there's a road trip story for you. If you have a phobia, conquer it.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's one of my many. That's a
Or
safe
just
one. That's
zone out till it's over.
just
I
zone
guess.
out till it's over. I wasn't driving. I was only like 14. So
Yeah. There you go.
so there's one of my crazy road trip stories. But when you said road trip stories, I was thinking like crazy stuff. I wasn't thinking like wholesome and good, like this was a really cool thing that we went and saw. I was thinking like the nightmare fuel stuff.
Oh,
or the weird
no,
crazy
because
stuff.
when we were originally set to talk was like right after I got home from this. So I was still buzzing with it and still processing all my photos and all that. So
I love that I translated your thought of what road trip stories was to my thought of what road trip stories was, which is like, here's something crazy that happened on our road trip.
I mean, I have the crazy road trips, too, but we try not to think about those. We
Well,
block them out.
Let me scratch off all my notes over here. I'm like, okay, not that one, not that one, not that
Aw.
one. Here's a biological one that we really shouldn't talk about because that one was gross.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very nice.
that really didn't happen. It was just a joke.
Oh, Curly Girl says another one that would be fun is to go and see a bunch of those really silly statues in small towns, like the
Right.
giant otter or the giant ear of
The
corn.
giant
We
ear
did
of
some of that because there was this thing that we found on the map called the Big Bovine of the Desert. And we're like, what's that? That seems interesting. And sure enough, it's just this giant statue of a cow. And it's maybe 100 yards from the entrance to a casino, and it's affiliated somehow and on their property, but it's this separate landmark, and it's just this like 20-foot tall cow.
There was a place, and I don't think I saw it in person, but we were thinking about it. We were going to drive through because we saw it on Google Maps. And it's like a tricycle. Like they have this giant farm plot and it's all these tricycles, and every year they rearrange how they are, and it's like this weird little like cult display of dead tricycles, like the tricycle graveyard or something like that. It's like that would be and like when I say tricycle, I mean like the little kid ones, not like the adult motorcycle, like the little pedal trikes that you see in like The Shining.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Fun.
That would be fun. It could also be very creepy.
That would be a good place to set an adventure.
Yeah, it would be like a horror Cthulhu.
Go
type.
LARP in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Curly Girl also said earlier, I
Yeah.
thought it would be fun to do a barbecue road trip and try a bunch of different briskets and ribs.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah.
And usually those are gluten free, so I'm good on those.
True. Yeah.
We do trips every year for our anniversary, and we specifically go places, and then we, because of my condition, we just search out gluten free foods that we can try. And so that's always been a fun thing. Like, hey, where's our anniversary trip? Oh, we're going here for this time. We're going to Washington. Hi, Eric. And we're going to go to a place called Ghost Fish. We have no idea. It's a brewing place in Washington State over by Seattle. We're going to go there and be like, oh my gosh, everything is amazing. Everything we touch is amazing. The beer is good. The drinks are good. The food is good. So, so even if you're not celiac, guys, go check out Ghost Fish in Seattle.
Well, I'm going to be going to Seattle this summer, so
You'll have to go check
I'll
out
remember
Ghost
that.
Fish.
Yeah.
Eric knows where it is. Eric knows where it is.
Of course he does. There's in Albuquerque, there's this Indian Pueblo museum that has a restaurant in it that serves authentic pre and post colonial Indian foods.
Oh.
And I had been there on my first time in Albuquerque and really wanted to go back. So we went back, and and that was awesome to see
Nice.
the museum and then eat the traditional food. And we went to Meow Wolf, which is a great bizarre place.
I've never heard
I
of
don't
it.
know if you're familiar with this.
I'm not.
So basically, George R. R. Martin bought out this dead bowling alley
Okay.
and transformed it into this interactive art installation
Okay.
where they've done, I think, 4 or 5 of these now. There's one in Vegas, there's one in Texas, there's one in Denver. I think I just saw there's one coming to New York. They all have different themes. It's you walk into this big warehousey building and it's all done up inside. And there's this house that they constructed just like a real house, a real sturdy house. And you go into the house and you start seeing things that are weird and wrong. And you, if you want to just wander through it as art, you can do that. But if you look more closely, there's a story that you can piece together about the weird stuff that happened to the family that lived in the house and the house's transformation into a different dimension. And it's got all these, you open a closet door and there's another dimension in there and you can walk all these other passageways. And
Oh, wow.
you turn a corner and you realize you're inside the aquarium that was in the living room, but all of the plants are giant now and you're tiny little fish sized. And
That would be cool. I would like to see one of those.
it is so trippy and just a lot of fun.
Wow.
And
And if you're not doing it as
so-
just art, is there like, do they have like actors and stuff in there that add to the
there are
ambiance?
no
Or
there are no actors. There are a few like guards and handlers and people
Okay.
to make sure that everybody's doing okay in there. But there's a lot of found objects. There are videos you can watch and papers you can read, and like one of the kids has a journal with their drawings and another kid has a diary, and there's scientific journals and letters and things, and you can kind of chart the progress of this family through their transformation through the dimensions.
Wow.
And now there's an app that there wasn't when I was there 6 years ago that kind of guides you to the right spots to find more information if you want to put the puzzle together.
Okay.
And
I need to
it
check
is
that out. That is so cool.
it's neat. It's a lot. And it is not the most disability friendly place. The difference between going 6 years ago before my accident and going now was there were a lot of places I couldn't crawl or climb, but there was usually another way into those places that didn't involve crawling through a fireplace or climbing a ladder or
Wow. But
but
there
like
is, but
you
you
open
do
the
that. That'd be crazy.
you open the fridge and there's the fridge is a hallway, an
Oh
all
my
white
gosh.
hallway, and you go into the refrigerator and it turns into this other world.
That is
And
so cool.
it's extremely immersive and beautiful and a lot of fun.
I'm gonna have to get the
And
information on that from you afterwards so that we can
yeah,
look to see where
I
they are and if we'll ever be in an area like that.
highly recommend if you're in the area checking one of these out. And they're all, I think the Vegas one has a convenience store theme and has all sorts of wacky products that don't
And that's cool that
exist.
they're all a little bit different. So like if you see one, you haven't seen them all. You have to go. They're like poking them.
Exactly.
You gotta see them all.
Exactly. Omega Mart, that's the Vegas one.
Omega
Thank
Mart.
you.
Okay.
But yeah, they're very cool.
That is really awesome.
We were in Vegas and we didn't go to that one, and we were near Denver and we didn't go to that one because we're like we want to go to the original one first. But
And now you have to backtrack.
I would like to hit all of them eventually.
Yeah. Man, I'm just thinking
This is not our last adventure. We saw Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon and Glen Canyon, and we didn't go to the Grand Canyon. We're like, the Grand Canyon will get its own trip.
What is some of the most like you look at it and you're like, dear God, on a trip where you're just like, you lose your breath sort of situations?
With the in a good way?
I guess, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in a good way.
So we were driving back and forth a couple times through Kanab, Utah, and we saw this sign on the side of the road for Moqui Cave. It's Moqui
Okay.
cave. And we thought, what's that? It's a cave. Okay, big whoop. And it advertises that it's cool in the summer and that it has, beverages and stuff. Okay, this is a tourist trap, whatever. But we pass it 2 or 3 times and we're like, okay, we're curious now.
Yeah.
And we're here to see the weird stuff. So let's go see the weird stuff.
Right.
And so it turns out that once upon a time, this couple bought this cave just in the middle of the mountains. Like you could do that then.
Yeah.
They just bought the cave. And a lot of the silent movies were being filmed around there, a lot of the westerns. And a lot of the western stars would complain that there was no place to cool off or get a beer while they were out shooting.
Right.
So they took this cave and they put a bar in the cave. And it's still there. So from the early days of the westerns,
Okay.
there's this cave with this long bar in it with the bar stools, and it's all original. And also the family went and excavated and looked around and stuff. So it's a museum, and they've got the exhibits and the cases of all the artifacts that they found from indigenous settlers and a whole rock collection and a lot of like fluorescent minerals. And it's just really cool and random. And it's this the people who bought the cave were Mormons and who served alcohol to movie stars. And their family still runs it. It's still a family-owned business.
Oh, wow.
The guy who let us in and gave us the tour is the grandson of the original owner.
Wow.
And it's really just wholesome and beautiful and cool. And that they put so much into this and also had so much passion for their environment that they wanted to collect this stuff and make a museum to it to, so that people could continue to enjoy it and see the history of the place. And that was fast.
It was fast. But yeah, that's
and
really
it's
cool.
It's hard to cover 3 weeks of travel in
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Right.
But yeah, there were lots and lots of pictures, and if you have the resources to take a helicopter trip over Mount Zion or Bryce National Park or the Grand Canyon, do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a gorgeous thing you won't see any other way. And
yeah. Curly Girl says weird cool place near us would be House on the Rock. House on the Rock. Yeah, that's got the weird twisty turny type stuff as well, I believe.
What is House on the Rock?
Well,
it's this house on a rock. The end.
If I recall, it's very similar to what you were talking about, where it's like you like dead end rooms and like all these weird things. I don't really remember 100%. I vaguely think it's like that. I think it's vaguely like the Winchester House.
Okay, yeah. I've been there many times.
But I could be wrong. I haven't been to the Winchester House myself. Maybe Curly Girl can give us more details on what it is, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's like, if I recall properly. But we all know I have the memory of a goldfish, so maybe I don't.
Okay.
Winchester House is pretty cool. You should visit. I want to visit the Winchester House. It's on
the
my
Winchester
list.
House is San Jose, not San Diego, but you're close.
Close. That's okay. I definitely want to check out the Winchester House just because
I've been when we lived in San Francisco, every time people would visit, we would take them there. So I've been on that tour many times and I've seen it through many evolutions and it never gets old.
There's
the House on the Rock.
On the Rock.
I'm opening this now so that I don't
me
forget
too.
later.
Me too.
Thank
Everybody
you.
else can just look at it. Yeah, so it's very similar so it's got a lot of weird but cool stuff too. Oh, that looks gorgeous. Some of those pictures are gorgeous. But of course the infinity room where it just goes on forever.
Road trip.
There we go.
My next road trip, maybe.
Awesome.
I have family out there I could visit.
Hey, okay, there it is. Where exactly? Where exactly is it listed as? Oh, in Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin. Well, Wisconsin ain't. That's just next door to us.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. That's where GaryCon and all that is happening coming up here.
Yeah.
I think GaryCon's in like 2 weeks or something. We were gonna go, but then it was just so short notice that we were deciding to go, and we're like, all right, when do we go? It's in like 2-3 weeks. Maybe we're not. Maybe next year. I was gonna say, when we were talking about like take your breath away, we went to Belize. We've been to Belize twice now, and we went to Zunantunich ruins in Belize, and it was one of those kind of like the fossil. I always wanted to see, something like a Stonehenge, something that predates America, and something that's just like ancient and predates is ancient even in predating America sort of way. I wanted to see like, the Egyptian pyramids or like Stonehenge or like an old castle or something like that. And so when we found out we were going to Belize, I was like, there's got to be some sort of like Mayan ruins. Not only is there Mayan ruins, but it's like one of the biggest in the area. And so we went to Zunantunich, and like there's all these little things. It's like, oh my God, this is super cool. There's all these little structures. And we turned around the corner, and here's this mountain of a pyramid. And I just stood there, and I was like, I stopped breathing. I stopped anything. And I like had an out of body spiritual experience standing in front of this magnificent structure. And I still can, like, I think about it now, and I can still feel some of the feeling that I had that day. So if you guys ever end up in Belize,
Awesome.
check
I have
out that.
2 of those experiences, and neither were from this trip. But when I went to Finland for my Northern Lights tour,
Okay.
definitely seeing the aurora in Lapland was like that,
Yeah, I bet.
where it's just, it takes up the entire sky, and the entire sky is alive and moving around you, and it's amazing. And when I was about 30, I think, I we were in England, and I went on a road trip with a friend to Wales for the day, and he had grown up there. And he said, okay, we're going to start with recent history, 1200s, and then work our way back.
Okay.
So we started with Caerphilly Castle and the ruins, and that was amazing, and my first castle.
Nice.
And then we ended up at the Roman ruins from the year 4 AD.
Oh, wow.
And I could not wrap my head around the year 4. And I
Right.
still kind of can't. But it was amazing.
That is awesome. I would love to see something like that.
It
One
was
day I
just
will.
this
One
like
day.
sunken pit that had been an amphitheater and mostly was grown over with grass, but you could still see some of the steps.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing.
just, I'm getting shivers thinking about it.
Yeah, just amazing. Curly Girl says, I think the dollhouse room is the haunted part of the house, but the other stuff is supposed to be really cool for the house on the rock. Have you seen the Carlsbad Caverns? I haven't. My mom saw the Carlsbad Caverns. She used to tell me about the Carlsbad Caverns. How about you? You been there?
I have not.
Wait, you said you were in Utah. Did you go to the Uinta Basin where all the aliens are? Skinwalker Ranch and all that stuff?
I can neither confirm nor deny that I went there.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I grew up on the East Coast, and I went to Luray Caverns a bunch.
Okay.
And I always loved that. But I haven't been to the Carlsbad Caverns yet.
There you go. Answer to your question, Barlock. The answer to your question. Of course, we've got the potluck coming up. We can kind of talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
Do you speaking of things like the Skinwalker Ranch and all that, do you delve into the paranormal in the in our real world? Do you like go ghost hunting or go Bigfoot hunting or any of that kind of stuff?
I don't.
Do you believe in that kind of stuff?
I believe that there are things that I have experienced that I can't explain.
Okay.
But I mostly tend to take a scientific mind on things if I can. And I was not raised Christian, so I wasn't raised with a lot of the superstitions about angels and things like that. And I think it's interesting and fascinating, and definitely, I'm not going to put myself in a situation to be scared by things that may or may not exist. very often.
Yeah, you're not going to go out of your way
But-
to go to the like Penn State Penitentiary and see if it's haunted. You're just like, nah, I don't need to do that.
I mean, I would sleep in a haunted house overnight for $1 million. Sure.
But short of
But-
that, you're not going to pay someone to let you do it.
But like, I went to Alcatraz because it was cool, not because it was haunted.
Okay.
And I recently went to a hotel in LA that I learned later was supposed to be haunted.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I said, the floor's really cold in the bathroom. And someone said, oh, that's the ghosts, leaching your heat out through the room. And I said, okay, sure.
Right. Yeah. It's like, like if you're sitting in your bed and you feel a breeze go by and it's cold, like, okay, maybe as if the heater's not on, but yeah, just having the floor be cold, like my floor is cold, that doesn't mean my house is haunted.
Right. Right. And I live in earthquake country, so if the house moves, it doesn't necessarily mean it's ghosts.
That's true. That is true.
It is just seismic activity.
Did you see
It's
anything in
normal.
Alcatraz when you went to Alcatraz? Did anything weird there be like, I can't explain that with science when you're at
I
Alcatraz?
didn't see it. I mean, I was with a tour group, and I will say the audio tour is really worth it in Alcatraz
Okay.
if you get to go, because they filmed it, they recorded it on location in all the locations, so all the acoustics that you're hearing are correct for where you are in the facility.
Oh.
And that's neat, and that makes it a little extra haunting. And they also talk with a lot of ex-prisoners and guards on the audio tour.
Oh, wow.
I have been to Meteor Crater, and it is amazing and impressive. And I think the most amazing thing about it is that this meteor came all the way from space with no like set path and managed to miss the gift shop by like this much. Like, what are the odds?
Wait a second. Okay.
Just right there on the rim.
All right. I just need to clarify this because I don't know the location. I don't know of Meteor Crater. Did this happen after, or are you just saying it because
Like
they built
millions
one?
of years
Okay.
after.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
I'm like, is she making a joke or is she being serious? I'm not quite sure if like maybe
Yeah.
it was just a little thing came by and
We had left ourselves too much travel that day, and we were going to do Meteor Crater and Petrified Forest the same day, and realized that that was going to be way too long on the road for how tired we were.
yeah.
So we were like, when we come back and do the Grand Canyon, we can see Meteor Crater and Petrified Forest then. Right now, it's just more important to get where we're going and
Get some
be
sleep.
safe on the road and sleep. Because I don't sleep well normally. My insomnia is terrible. So being in a different hotel every night and not really getting to get used to sleeping in a particular bed
Right.
was a
good.
learning experience for me.
It kind of reminds
I
me
got there
of the,
eventually because you kind of have to sleep, and eventually your body just says, "We don't care anymore. We're just sleeping."
we're just sleeping, yeah, out like a light. That kind of reminds me. There was a. Have you heard of the stand-up comedian? Do you know the stand-up comedian Gallagher who used to smash melons?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He did a routine once where he said he was talking about his daughter. He looking through the eyes of his child, and he's like, I remember this time we had to go out for milk, and we're driving to the grocery store and seeing it through her eyes, and we're in a big traffic jam and everybody's stuck, and she goes, I can't believe all of these people need milk. And I still laugh when I think about that, and it's like, it's funny. It's not as funny as I remember it, but because I remember it that way, it's funny, and still looking back, things will trigger that memory. So the story about the building I was being there from the meteor hitting is what reminded me of that.
Yeah. That building was so lucky. But it is also a really good visitor center with a lot of cool stuff. And
so it's a good thing the meteor didn't hit it.
yes,
We
it's a good thing that they perched that on the rim, and you can go and visit it and see the immense size of this crater that a meteor left before anything else was there.
How big was the meteor, do they say?
I don't remember, because like I said, I didn't go this trip. I just remember it from
Gotcha.
15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that if you look it up, they'll tell you online.
I'll have to look because I don't really know much about it. I know about, there are a few places where they have like the little craters and they do the things, but I'm always I was quite curious at the size of the whatever compared to how big the hole is, right? 150 feet wide.
150 feet. Ooh, thank you,
that's,
Eric.
That's a 15 story building right there, give or take. 15
That's
story
the, and it made a crater over a mile wide.
Okay. There we go.
That's a lot of force.
That is a lot of force. Well, I mean that's still a big meteor though. I mean, it's a big space when you think in the size of like a 15 story building. But a circular
It's not meteorite crater. It's meteor crater.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I'm thinking like this. Meow.
No.
All right.
Like a BB from space or something.
I'm gonna shift gears on us in this potluck. Because you said we can't avoid it. And like we can avoid it, but we're not going to. We're not going to. Tell us about your playthrough of Baldur's Gate.
Oh.
Dun,
I
dun,
thought this was going to be
dun.
an Eric to be topic, but it's only tangentially an Eric to be topic.
Only tangentially.
So
are you playing with Eric? Are you playing it with Eric as well?
I am not playing with Eric, but the D&D campaign that we're playing, in which I'm playing a centaur, is the Descent to Avernus.
Oh, yeah. Is that precursor or postcursor? Precursor. Precursor, right.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate.
So that's fun. And we are currently in hell in that adventure.
Okay.
With good company.
So how
We're playing with my partner and Eric's cousin and another mutual friend, and then our Gen Con friends that we get to see at Gen Con.
Oh, that's nice.
So
that's great. Are you doing it online or online? I'm assuming,
online,
right?
Yeah, as a way for us to
you mentioned you're
just be able to
traveling
keep
over
in
there,
touch and keep playing all year. So instead of just seeing each other once a year and saying we wish we could hang out more, now we get to hang out most weeks. So that's fun.
That's great. That was yesterday, right? Was that yesterday? Or was there
Monday.
something else?
Sunday. Sorry.
Sunday. Okay. Because I know you said you had something on Mondays you were doing as well, and I thought that was a gaming and RPG as well.
That was that, but we've switched days now because of other people's conflicts with other things.
Oh, okay. So future down the road, available Mondays. I'll put that on my notes.
Future down the
Once
road,
again,
I am
available on
Mondays
Mondays.
again. But we had changed the date so many times that I didn't want to mess with it.
Fair enough. Well,
like,
and it worked out good because yesterday was our affiliate anniversary, and it timed in there just right. So, and technically in my brain it changed 5 times because for some reason I thought it was last month as well, and we won't talk about.
You did, and that was a pulse elevating moment for me. Aren't we talking tonight? No,
that's not telling. Oh yeah, right. That's me. Memory of a goldfish. I said it, guys. Memory of a goldfish.
Yeah. But I am loving Baldur's Gate. I have not finished it yet. I got really far in a playthrough, and then things happened to my saved file that we won't discuss.
Oh no.
And I decided to let it. Oh, I have a memory of what's that thing that swims in a bowl?
Yep. I actually have a pop-up that
you
plays.
Have that?
I have a pop-up that'll play, and it'll be like a little goldfish will swim across the screen on my video game streams. A little thing, say doo like the more you know sound. It's kind of like that. And so the goldfish will swim across and it'll say memory of a goldfish, and it'll play like kind of the more you know sort of music in the background. So, and that's the thing. But we don't always have that, so we have the night back command, so we still get the thing. So yeah, we have a command. Like I literally say it all the time. I say it so much it gets its own.
That is excellent.
Piece.
Yeah,
in this world.
Over on Galdoc's stream, we have squirrel because of the topic shift.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, Galdoc is my friend who does a lot of modding for Factorio and Blender tutorials and all sorts of really cool coding stuff. And he was doing a speed run for Factorio achievements before the new drop came out.
Okay.
And I was watching, and he wasn't really following along with the comments that were people suggesting things that could help him because he was too focused on doing the speed run. And I said, can I come on there and be your AI chatbot and read your comments for you so that you don't miss them, because these people are helping you out.
Yeah, reading it out loud to him.
Yeah. So I took a GLaDOS voice and I started reading the comments. Lyric Lost says, shiny, squirrel, icon. And his followers didn't actually know if I was a person or a bot, and it was a lot of fun. And they started doing the things to try to get me to say weird stuff to see if they could make me laugh. And it's just, I've been a sometimes guest on there ever since, and it's been great. And he comes on my stream with me to play Shadows over Loathing, and we hang out, and it's a good time.
That is hilarious. I'm surprised nobody's redeemed the GLaDOS. I have a GLaDOS bot that people can AI
Someone
ask.
redeemed a who you gonna call? Oh no, that was just offered to me. Never mind.
I'm like, what? What's going on?
It offered me a thing, but I'm not redeeming a thing.
Oh,
'cause I'm
yes, the
busy.
Tangia bot offered
Yeah.
you. It's like, you have this available now. You can now play this thing. Yeah, it'll do the whole Ghostbusters do from the cartoon, and he'll step through the thing, and yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen someone do that on here before. Yeah. I don't feel the need to do that right now.
Don't feel the need? No.
No, but that's okay. But so I've started streaming a little bit, and it's fun, and I haven't been able to be regular with it because health issues and various things, but usually Thursday mornings are a good time to catch me playing Shadows over Loathing from
Nothing, tra-la-la.
Nothing, tra-la-la.
Nothing.
Nothing, tra-la-la.
Turn it up.
No.
Yeah. Turn it up. Yeah.
You guys are embarrassing me in front of my guests, Steven.
Turn it up. Yeah.
With the turn it up alert. That is yeah. I have some alerts of me singing that are just embarrassing. But that's the whole point of this thing being the way it is so that they have a chance of embarrassing me.
Exactly.
And double embarrassing me because I have a guest on.
Aw, so sad.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's sweet. But yeah, I've also been thinking about doing a Baldur's Gate playthrough like everybody else. But I don't know. I feel like some of my choices should stay private.
That is true. By the way, that Epic Realms is the best is Yang Yang Wang from the Dungeon Scrollers. That's his,
nice.
That's his voice.
Very nice. Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying streaming. I need to do it more. I've been doing a little bit of crafting with like making crocheted objects and stuff. And I was thinking that I might do a reading in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Do you think that
just some fiction?
Do you think that doing the Baldur's Great Gate is going to ruin whatever Eric has planned?
No.
For you? Or is it like you already know what happened?
This is the prequel to the adventure, and it's different characters. And although Eric is inserting his own flavor into the game and inserting a lot of Baldur's Gate Easter eggs that aren't there.
That's what I was.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I figured he would do something like that, creative like that.
But he's an experienced tie-in author. He knows not to break the world.
That's true.
So he's not doing anything that conflicts with the game.
Right.
He's just adding flavor with it.
Right,
so
but if you're just playing the game now and you're like, you discover something in the game, it's like, oh, I didn't know that because you hadn't played through the game yet.
I've gotten pretty far.
Okay, fair enough.
I've gotten into the third act.
Fair enough.
Before my save corrupted
and now you have to do it all over again.
And RIP. But yeah, so now I'm trying to find a new hook to get me to do all the content I've already seen before.
They've encountered Orin the Red, Will, Shatterheart, Undercover, Duke Ravengard, and the Dark Urge.
In our Avernus game, yes.
In your Avernus game, yeah. Well, that's cool.
Wait.
Oh! I was waiting. I was like, I bet he put something in there just now, and I was just waiting for you. And you're like, wait. And I'm like, yes!
So, Briarios, can I tell them? You're right there. Can I tell them? So the Dark Urge is one of our player characters, and we didn't know it until last week. And out of character, a bunch of us kind of knew it, but in character, we just found out.
Okay, I was gonna say, did the character that's playing it know? Because I could see that
Yes.
being okay.
Yes. And it has been so much fun. So
Interesting.
like,
Interesting.
yeah, we left them alone with someone to guard them, and we came back later, and the person that they were supposed to guard was a splat on the floor surrounded by a rune. And we're like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Then we had a talk about how that person died. And the Dark Urge's perspective was, well, I mean, if they had to die anyway, does it really matter how or how enthusiastically they were killed? Because, you know, if you were going to kill them anyway, then what's the big deal? And he's got a point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Dark Urge. Dark Urge is what a Dark Urge does, right?
Like, you know, it's not like he killed some innocent. This is somebody who was going to have to go.
Yeah, that's
And we
true.
did kind of leave him alone guarding them.
So what you're saying is it's your fault.
I'm saying
And the other
we
and
all
the other
share
party
some blame
members, you
here.
share the blame of
We all share some blame here. But man, that reveal was amazing. And
Are you
so
covered
much
in
fun.
blood inside your clothes? Maybe.
Maybe.
Don't worry, it's not mine.
I'm covered in blood inside my skin. Is that the same? Probably not.
Probably not.
But yeah, beautiful, beautiful moment.
That's hilarious. Oh.
But I'm trying to
We're gonna
find
just need
a,
to do updates on how the game's going here and there.
Yeah.
And just find
Yeah.
out.
I want to play through to that point again and maybe make some better choices, but also do it in a way that doing that same content over isn't going to be boring to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not really enjoying their multiplayer system in that game. I feel like it's too siloed.
Yeah, I haven't done the multiplayer in the Baldur's Gate 3 yet.
It just I didn't enjoy it. I tried it. So, but I like you know, bringing a person along with me to talk through a playthrough, or you know, I'll do the playing and you tell me what your choices are and we'll do your choices, or we'll talk about the choices. But I'm not sure that's as exciting to view as watching two people go through being chaos demons together.
Right.
So
what was your first character in there? The first one you made?
my first character was
Or your main one, I guess.
She a tiefling. She was a tiefling druid.
Okay.
And I made her to resemble my character Quills from my series, my book of the Essence.
Okay.
And I'm currently working on the sequel to that. So like having her run around and do stuff was supposed to inspire me to write more, and instead it inspired me to play Baldur's Gate more. But I did the same thing when I played Mass Effect. I made my female shepherd look like Quills, and that was hugely inspiring to my writing process, because in Mass Effect it didn't care your gender. It treated you the same. So as a woman, to not be told you were being too emotional because you wanted someone's corpse sent home for their family to bury was an epiphany for me.
Yeah.
Like, I expected to be told off for this because, oh, you're being too soft, you're a girl. And I wasn't. And I also discovered that you could be as rude as you wanted to people and they would still trust you with their side quests and say, hey, will you do this thing for me? And
that was the potluck.
So,
Again, real
wow.
quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ran through it.
I feel like we were just starting to get our groove there.
We were just kind of getting into, well, I mean, it's Baldur's Gate.
You
How
said
can
Baldur's
not?
Gate, and then
Said-
we went around like this to talk about Baldur's Gate.
We did go like that in a little semicircle.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't know, if you want to see me play Baldur's Gate on stream, let me know, and maybe that'll happen.
let's I don't know if I have. Let me see here. If I have, I do. It does look like I have it there. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna watch. Do you have any clips on your Twitch stream?
I do not.
No clips yet.
No clips yet. I only figured out how to turn on clips after my last stream.
Oh,
So
okay.
so now it is clippable,
Now
but
it is
before it was
clippable, so
not
now you guys will
clippable.
have to go over there, give that
Yes.
follow, and then
Yes.
and you can
And
start to
I'm
clip.
still working toward affiliate, so the more follows I can get, the better. That would be super helpful for me. And so if, you know, if this content is of interest, please let me know, or
There we
let
go.
me know what you would like to see.
More Baldur's Gate, more knit. Somebody said knitting. Somebody said something about a knitting stream.
Yeah, crocheting.
Crocheting stream.
Yes,
Right.
Lyric Lost.
Lyric.
Yes, thank you.
Lyric's the one that did the opening music, the opening
Oh,
song. That's
that was
Lyric.
so amazing.
And Lyric is also a baker. Lyric, you missed the baking bread category. So
Have to
you'll
rewatch.
have to go back and rewatch the
Okay.
baking bread category. Lyric is a big baker,
Mm.
seamstress, sewer, singer, musician. I mean, everything that she's done has been awesome so far.
Wow.
So yeah, she's a major part of our community and stuff in here. So VOD in the future. Yep, video on demand
Yes.
in the future. Got to
Future
go back and
VOD.
watch it. Got to go back and watch it. So guys,
Future
go and
VOD.
give Gabrielle a follow on Twitch for all of the future gaming. Maybe some role
Thank
playing.
you.
Maybe somewhere down the road. Maybe some role playing.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Who
Maybe.
knows? You never know. You never know.
I'm getting together a new group for a new game, and in the future, it's possible.
You never know.
Or-
One-offs here and there. Maybe full thing. Who knows? Who knows?
Definitely one-offs. I would love to run my Ravenloft one shot on stream for people. That would be a lot of fun for me. My Ravenloft adventure is, I think, the most fun game adventure I've written,
Okay.
and it's super. Eric got to play test it.
Nice.
Eric got to be in the playtest. Eric was not in the playtest with Ed Greenwood, I don't think, but Ed also got to playtest it and
Nice.
wreaked a lot of havoc.
I bet. Those guys are great for playtesting damn near anything RPG related, and probably and board
And
games and stuff
anything.
too. Anything really, anything.
Anything.
Guys, you can go and also check
Yeah.
out. There's your website, GabrielleHarbowy.com.
That's me.
And you also have your Patreon there. What's going on your Patreon?
So my Patreon is mostly writing advice, gaming advice. It's mostly advice. I like to tailor it to my audience, so I'm happy to talk more about gaming, more about writing, more about submitting writing to agents, whatever's helpful. I have some tiers that give some nice perks, like a monthly one-on-one cheer session to, boost you along in your writing, or even just get a birthday and a holiday card from me for the holiday of your choice, because nobody sends mail anymore, and it's fun.
Rejectomancy.
Rejectomancy is it's a term. It's a coined term for trying to read between the lines of rejection letters to figure out what they mean. And when they say they liked it, does it really mean they liked it, or were they just being polite? Or you get the form letter and you don't know you don't have anything actionable that you can do when you get a form letter. So people have to project a narrative onto a thing to be able to understand it. So you read between the lines of the form letter and you tell yourself what you think it means. And I have a whole workshop that I may be doing again this summer about whether that actually works or not. Spoiler, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But there are things you can control about the process, and different people's rejection letters say different things and mean it. And we hope to see you submit something to us again in the future. It could be polite from one person or heartfelt from another person, and
Yeah.
you don't really know.
One person could be like, "We're not doing this right now, but get back to us."
Yeah,
Later
not a
down
fit
the
for
road,
us.
and that could be a legit. We're not right now.
Yeah.
Back down the road, or it could be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, don't
But-
ever message us again."
But
who knows?
not a fit at this time means don't call us, we'll call you.
Right.
We have to go wash our goldfish this week. We're busy. But it's hard because you want to be polite, but also you can't take the time to respond to everything.
Right.
My boss has 800 queries in her inbox, and a team of 6 people working on them. And if they stopped to give personal rejections to every single one, we would never get anything else done.
Yeah, for sure.
And then sometimes the feedback makes things worse because what I don't like is what another person likes. And I don't want to steer your story away from what might make it work for somebody else.
Right.
Or it might make you think that this is a quick fixable thing that, oh, I tightened up this thing in the beginning and here it is again. You want to see it again, right? And it may not actually be an actionable thing that, you know, is easily fixable at all.
Right.
And if we wanted to see it again, we would tell you. So sending a form letter kind of kills that, prevents that from being a conversation.
Fair enough. And we're
When
talking about
you know that you don't want to, you know, waste somebody's time submitting their book to you when you know it's not a fit for you, but you got to say it nicely.
Yeah. And thank you for that follow over on Kick. Welcome in.
Sweet. That was the kick follow noise.
That was a Kick follow. That's technically our follow noise on all of the platforms, but that particular one came from Kick.
Oh, neat.
So yeah. Tell us about your upcoming projects, what you got going on, what we can expect from you.
So, okay.
Besides the live stream, we've mentioned
You've
that
embarrassed yourself a little bit. Now it's my turn to embarrass myself a little bit. Last time I was on here, mumble years ago, I said I was working on an RPG adventure that I was going to put up on drive-through when it was done, and I'm still working on that.
Okay, that's all right.
So
that's all right.
It's taking a little longer than I expected.
If I had $1 for every project I started and got half as far as you did, I'd probably be worth a lot more money.
I've got the monsters. I've got Act 1 and half of Act 2. I've got the entire outline. It's just a matter of finishing it and making it pretty. And so I'm still working on that. I need a kick in the butt. I think I'm bringing a person on to collaborate with me on that to get it finished. You have an Afghan you started in 92 and you're halfway done.
See, there we go.
That's awesome. Are you going to take the same amount of time to do the other half?
Oh.
Because I mean, balance suggests that it would take, yeah, if that's what it took to get halfway. But I feel like any amount of progress is progress. And I definitely feel like with writing things and crafting things that it's a page you didn't have before. It's a row you didn't have before. Oh, fiber matching is a pain. Oh, that's a butt.
Oh no.
Good luck.
I was going to say, Lyric
just
technically didn't say how big this Afghan is, so like it could be like a 3-mile long.
Or like you could just decide that it's done now and it's a lap blanket or
it's a lap blanket.
washcloth or some kind of rectangle. I'm really good at making rectangles. I hate assigning names to them, but it's a rectangle.
It's a rectangle piece of cloth.
At any point when I finished a row, it's still a rectangle. So I have still succeeded.
Yeah, there you go. You just say it's done and it wasn't an Afghan. It's another thing entirely.
It's a different thing.
It's a baby blanket. Baby blanket.
A baby blanket. It's a pillow cover. It's a
pillow cover. There we go.
Cat blanket. I was making cat blankets for a while. I had really scratchy yarn that I didn't want to use for humans. And so I made cat blankets and I donated a bunch of them to my local shelter. And I brought a bunch of them up to make it to give to Eric DeBee's wife to give to her cat shelter.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Tomorrow is another day. Sampler, 63 squares. Yeah, but only you know that it's 63 squares.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
It's one square.
We say, oh, look at these awesome 25 squares.
My cats love my blankets. There we go.
I had to put out a small blanket as like a decoy for my cat to sit on so that she would let me crochet in peace a little bit. Not even fully,
funny.
but just a little bit. She had her decoy Afghan.
Have you seen the little tiny cat computers? The little cat laptops?
Those are so cute.
They are so cute.
I need a new cat first before we do that. And we need to replace some floorboards before we get a new cat. So it'll be a while. But we need to just visit friends with cats in the meantime
Yeah.
is my strategy. So I'm also working on finishing the sequel to Ether's Pawn. And I say finishing when I'm on chapter 4. So it's not like it's just a little bit left to go.
But you've got a bunch of it in your mind, right? You have an
I do.
idea. It's not just it's not like you're just starting from
I
scratch.
do absolutely have an idea. And the characters are already there and stuff. And that's going to involve a lot of Finnish mythology, which will be fun.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm working on workshops to do because every agent needs a how to query workshop. And so I'm turning my previous Rejectomancy workshop into a bigger how to query kind of thing.
Okay.
And I'll be doing a couple of agenting pitch events in May, and then Gen Con and Worldcon in August. So preparing for all that is keeping me busy.
And that's where we first met, was Gen Con.
Yes.
We were introduced by a tall friend of ours.
Yes. In a hallway.
In a hallway, right outside of it was
of a networking event.
Yeah, it was an author. I think it was like an author meet and greet. You could meet all the authors that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we chatted, and they were working on another project that has now since gone defunct. Due to no effort on your own, but just their own thing. We won't talk about that. So
that was not the year I had just given blood before that. I think that was the year before. But
yeah, it was the year
yeah.
before COVID? Of COVID? I don't remember. Nope, there were masks, I think. There were masks.
There were masks.
Yeah.
The following year, I got my A1C down as a diabetic enough to give blood, and I was very excited.
Oh.
So I gave blood at Gen Con, and then I went to that same meet and greet afterwards, and really had to sit down.
I bet.
That was not that year.
Yeah. I bet.
But now I get lots of texts from blood drives in Indiana, where I do not live, inviting me to come give blood and get some freebie, which was very nice of them to keep me in mind.
Yeah, that's good. Nice.
Maybe I'll do that again this year if I have a big enough block of time.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while. It's not even just the giving blood; it's the waiting. Because thankfully they have a whole bunch of people who want to do that.
Yeah, because it's Gen Con, and Gen Con people are pretty much very charitable.
And they're also like, we get free dice and cookies. Okay.
Right.
Dice and cookies. Give us the dice and cookies.
For sure. Other projects?
Mostly just client projects, honestly. Promoting them, and I have 4 books on submission for various people, and getting some nibbles, and hopefully some good news soon. And yeah.
Awesome.
So that keeps me busy, keeping after editors and saying, somebody please buy these books. These people are awesome and they write awesome things, which it's nice because it's kind of a step away from the ego for me. Like, promoting myself is really hard, but promoting these other people I think are great. That's really easy.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I'm glad, and you as you know, shoot me messages. We've already talked.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep in touch on that front, and obviously you're welcome back anytime.
Yep.
I know
and
a bunch of your
people
already.
Any of your folks, your followers who are writers and have something ready to submit to an agent, can feel free to submit to me. I am open for queries. Just the link is on my website to my manuscript wish list. And please follow the directions and only send me what I'm looking for, because otherwise it's a waste of your time.
Follow the directions.
And you can also say in the referral field that you saw me here, and I'll let that get back to Nick, and it'll be a nice boost for all of us.
There you go. Read the brief. There we go. Yeah, read the brief.
Read the brief.
Read it.
RTFM if you're old enough for that.
To me, my brain is like, that F stands for something that's probably not speakable, but then at the same time I'm like, what does that stand for? What does that stand
It stands for read the manual exactly like you think it does.
Okay. That's what I thought.
I
That's what
thought I was
thought.
going to swear a lot more on this stream.
I know you
than
did.
I
I know.
have.
You know what? Everybody says, people say that about the regular podcast too. They're like, "Can I
Yeah?
swear out here?" I'm like, "Sure, you can." They're like, "Oh, because I swear like a sailor." I'm like, "Okay." Entire episode, not one swear word, not one.
Wow.
So yeah, happens more often than you'd think.
That's really psychologically interesting, I think.
It is very interesting.
We're on our best behavior here. You know,
But
you
here's the
film me at
thing.
Gen Con and that's out the window.
So that exact quote happened where they're like, "I swear
Mhm.
like a sailor," so I'm, whatever. And then I got to know them, and I've talked to them a bunch. I've still never heard them swear, and I've told other people in the industry because they are a very prominent person that everybody knows them,
Mhm.
and everybody I've told that to, every single one of them's like, "I've never heard them swear, never either." I'm like,
Weird.
I know, right?
Wow.
why were they worried?
I mean, my D&D games are off the hook. Even our agency D&D game had tons of F-bombs going around in it from people who work together, and it was great. So I just, I don't know, I guess you're a wholesome influence,
I
despite
am.
your
Aw.
clips in your promo. I'm not getting up and twerking for you, though. That's bonus in-person content only.
No,
Sorry.
it's not. Don't remind me that I have that clip out there. Oh, the things I do for entertainment purposes. The things I do to entertain our audiences.
Well, you are appreciated.
Well,
so.
thank you so much. I appreciate you spending your time with us, joining us for the show, and having a lot of fun with us. And it's been great. I'll have you on again down the road.
Definitely a pleasure.
Of course, we always have other things. We could do some role playing down the road. If you come up with an adventure that you're coming out with and you want to like show it off and you want to run it, you are more than welcome to do so here. Any of that kind of stuff. We do all that stuff. All of the things to help.
All the things.
Just
Great.
let me know.
Yeah.
And and if role playing or games is involved, it is so easy. I push a button. I don't really push a button. I push a bunch of buttons, and like I have a list of people that are like, I'm in. So finding people isn't necessarily hard to do stuff like that. So especially in this community, we have so many role players, so many board game players, so many people in the community that are just freaking awesome. So
that is terrific. Yes.
So
we will
thank you.
do that.
Guys, go and check her out on website, on Twitch here, on all. Do you want to drop your social medias? What social media handles you're on, where people can find you on social media?
I am on Blue Sky as Gabrielle-H and Instagram, which I forget to post on most of the time, as Gabrielle Harbowy, one word, like the website. And everything else is kind of linked from there.
It's in the background somewhere, not using,
manuscriptwishlist.com and like here, there, and all over the place. And come join me on Patreon. I have my own Discord. It's very, very quiet. A nice little community. And I'm happy to take requests as to what to give advice about, because I've been in this industry a long time and apparently have smart things to say once in a while. So I'm happy to share my knowledge.
Do you want to drop a list of some of the people you are an agent for? You don't have to, but it's up to you.
I am an agent for this guy named Eric Scott DeBee. He writes a lot of epic fantasy and does a lot of game stuff, and he's just all around awesome. I am representing the middle grade work of Jim C. Hines, who is known in these circles for his Goblin books. He wrote a series of fantasy novels that are a hoot, with a goblin as the protagonist.
Love it.
And the goblin's name is Jig, and he has a little spider that sits on his shoulder.
Aww.
And they're defending their caves from adventurers.
That's great.
Filthy but tasty adventurers. He's terrific. So he has a middle grade book that I'm shopping. Nate Crowder, also a great gamer.
Cobalt City
Universe. And I'm representing a creepy speculative horror with small town secrets for him.
Okay.
Haley Spencer is a professional poet and she's got a really amazing sapphic cottagecore dark fantasy that follows fairy tale rules that I'm shopping around.
Okay.
And I've recently signed Monica Valentinelli, who is known in game circles for all sorts of games and game related projects. And she wrote the Firefly Encyclopedia
Nice.
for the Firefly RPG and all sorts of great stuff. And we will actually be shopping a nonfiction book for her
Okay.
first. So I'm really excited about that.
That's great. I love it.
So lots of clients, lots of projects. And I'm still reading queries and looking for more people with amazing projects to take on and trying to write my own stuff and staying involved in gaming and crafting and sanity.
I love it. Guys, go and check
Yeah.
out Gabrielle everywhere, all of the places. Check out all of the people they just named. Check them all out. And maybe we'll see some of them on the Epic Realms podcast down the road.
That'd be
You never know.
terrific.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
You do know. They do know. They know. They know. You know. I know. We all know.
You're like, ooh, new people, shiny.
Ooh, new people. I actually,
Ooh,
I was sitting there.
people I've had before,
So there
shiny.
may or may not have been a name or two that I have on a list over here next to me, and I'm like, I should find out who's in charge of them and who I need to talk to. So look at the
in
list.
charge of is actually pretty bold, but
Well,
I
you know what
mean,
I'm saying. Because sometimes you don't go directly to the person, you have to go to their person. You have to have my people call their people. And I'm like, I wonder who their people is. Now I know who their people is.
yeah. Well, call me about my people.
I'm gonna call you about your people.
Sweet.
We'll do that. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. We're gonna raid on out. Do you have anybody on that you'd like us to raid? Otherwise, I can pick a person that's on my list. Do you have anybody on
I
Twitch that you
don't have anyone who's currently on that I would suggest rating. No,
All right, sounds
sadly.
good. We're gonna pick.
The only person I know who's on is this Epic Realms guy, and he says he's just chatting. So
Yeah, he is just chatting, and probably not about a whole heck of a lot really good either, and just just chatting.
What?
Whatever. I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know what they're talking about. Whatever they're talking
We
about.
don't know.
We don't know. Thank you, Classic Sam. Have a good one. Classic Sam, another awesome person, game content creator, does a lot of interviews, very similar to the Epic Realms podcast, very similar to this. Does a lot of like content creator interviews in the RPG sphere. So people that do RPG content, does all kinds of stuff over there at Classic Sam. New York Game Master, a lot of fun as well.
Hit me up. I do content creation.
There we go. Classic Sam, if you're here,
Yeah.
hit up Gabrielle. There we go. Got you your next person. Boom.
Sweet.
Done. Done. Very simple. Very easy. I always tell Sam, I was like, just if there's somebody you want that's been on the show, let me know and I can tell you if I can get you hooked. There we go. There we go. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes, please. Yeah, Classic Sam is great. I love Classic
Yeah.
Sam.
And let's talk about doing the Ravenloft thing and doing the maybe some behind the scenes on it too,
Yeah.
because that would be fun.
I'm in. We'll do it. We'll do it. All right, guys, we're going to raid out. She is a content creator of her own right. Does a lot of D&D content, a lot of geeky content. She's currently playing Monster Hunter. You probably know her from a TikTok. This is Geeky Girl Lissa. Does all kinds of stuff over there and is a great content creator over on TikTok, but also streams. So playing some Monster Hunter, we'll go and give her some support. Thank you guys so much for being here. Take care. Good night. And we'll see you tomorrow. We got tabletop role playing tomorrow. We've got 2 games, 2 RPGs that have combined into one for a temporary time. We've got a mashup. 2 GMs, 8 players. Our Stolen Souls campaign and our Claimer's Conquest campaign is now the Stolen Conquest with everything
Whoa.
merged and matched. All the characters. Some people are playing. We have one person playing 3 characters. So it'll be a lot of fun. Come and join us tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central, right here on stream if you like tabletop role playing. Of course, Monday we've got James Sutter. I'm sure Gabrielle knows who James Sutter is.
Hey,
James Sutter is going to be
was
coming
my
back.
editor at Paizo.
That's right.
Yeah.
James Sutter is returning to the Epic Realms. This will be his 2nd episode, joining us on Monday for the Epic Realms podcast. I can't wait to catch up with him. He is so much fun. So thank you guys so much for being here. We've got Assassin's Creed Shadows all week long as well. So we will see you down the road. Take care and good night, everyone.